Well, there goes the Daverhood. Good morning, everybody. Welcome on this Saturday morning, June 14th, 2025, to the 987th. It's Mr. Oh no, this is the Yes Dear button. So, you are here, live on Saturday morning.
I couldn't agree more.
For episode 987 of the Dave's Gone By, Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the Stream, which is one of the best shows ever created.
I'd love to.
Okay. I'm working on it.
You want the wheel, the spinny wheel of different things. There's somewhere.
Oh, we got so much stuff. We got 3 hours to do it.
We definitely got to get containers and organize this.
3 whole hours of entertainment.
What a wonderful idea.
Right. I thought of this 23 years ago, just about, when we started back in October of 2002. And my darling and wonderful and amazing wife is with me here, and as she has been all these years. Isn't that wonderful?
Whatever you say.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and she's helping me on this June 14th as well. So, welcome to you. Yes, it's Dave's Gone By, which mixes humor and culture and interviews and all that kind of cool, fun stuff. So if you don't want to watch the parade or the counter parade or the Middle East being annihilated, watch this.
Yes, dear.
See? Why not? 2 days away. We're talking about, everybody's like, oh, it's whose birthday. That's why he's having the parade. You know whose birthday is 2 days from today? Someone in this room. Huh?
Where's your phone, honey?
Well, you gave it to me for the picture.
No, that's my phone. Where's your phone?
Oh, my phone is also here. Hold on.
Okay, I want to watch, make sure you're okay.
Oh, yeah, please check that we're streaming and live on Facebook, as we are, from 9 to noon or thereabouts every Saturday morning. Granted, the past few months it hasn't been quite every Saturday morning because we've had to be elsewhere, but most Saturday mornings we're here live doing this Dave's Gone By program for you. And today's going to be a good one because we have some of our usual stuff and a really fun thing to do as well. For example, Greeley Times, where, because my wife and I lived in Greeley in northern Colorado for 13 years, the local newspaper there collects phone calls that come in to the police station. The dispatcher takes the information down, and some of these are ridiculous. Some of these are like, I can't believe you're calling the cops over this, or, wow, they're calling the cops over this. Well, the funniest ones get stripped of all the identifying information and published in the Greeley Tribune. We take the funniest ones of those and share them contigo. So yeah, it's called Greeley Times. Don't miss. We've been doing that for years, and we still have a blast, even though we're in Maryland now, quite far away from beautiful Greeley.
Yeah, I wonder why you don't have another. Is there any other paper that does it?
If I could find a Maryland cop log. There was one time I found one somewhere from like Michigan or something. I wish I could find it again, because I gladly share from other places around the country, around the globe. The closest we can do is that during Greeley Times, we have our Elsewhere segment, where we get a piece of weird, ridiculous news from somewhere else around the globe and share that with you too. So don't miss.
Are you going to comment on your take on the Tonys?
Actually, yeah, we're definitely going to talk Tonys, because our last episode, last Saturday morning, June 7th, was our 20th annual Tony Award extravaganza, our Broadway blowout, if you will. Almost blew out my colon with joy. So, not, I don't know why. No, not especially, no. Although, man, 2 nights ago, did I leave a fart? You remember that? Oh my God, this is what happens when couples are married for a very, very, very long time. We're going to sleep, it's fine, and then under the covers, Dutch oven time.
No, it was bad. It smelled like really bad.
I don't know. I couldn't pinpoint. It's not like I ate something weird and new, and it was like, oh, this is gonna keep me up all night. I'm gonna be on and off the bowl. I had a little dairy, right? I think I even ate ice cream that night, right? So I didn't have dairy just before going to bed. Just like a basic normal day of meals, right? And didn't have Indian food, didn't have anything special or Mexican, and
Well,
yet
maybe today you shouldn't use my birthday sandwich.
see, because my wife's birthday is 2 days from today,
And it's
we
a
get
carnivore restaurant.
we get a free meal, well, a free sandwich from Mission Barbecue. I'll say that again, Mission Barbecue. Now, they don't let you have ribs, which is what I will, of course, grab. I say, Mission, my ribs! No, it's got to be a sandwich, but you can get a sliced beef sandwich, like ribs off the bone and stuff like that. And if you go to Mission Barbecue and you sign up on your birthday, a lot of restaurants do this, you get free, like a free $14 sandwich, $12 sandwich. So, yes, my wife's birthday is literally 2 days from today, and she gets us in her email, and there's literally nothing in terms of a main course that she can eat at Mission Barbecue, being a vegetarian. But I am not. I could eat the tables at Mission Barbecue. I'm omnivorous, literally. So she, as a gesture of love and 28 years of goodwill, 26, legally, she is willing her coupon of free food to me. And I get a free sandwich from Mission Barbecue because of her birthday. I don't know, sorry. Okay, it's been a week. Anyway, so I thank her for that. But how do we get there? How do we get there from Greeley Times to...
Oh, I don't know, you're looking for... What do you do around the world? Where do you find those all around the world?
Oh, Googling odd, weird, ridiculous news. And of course, there is odd, weird, ridiculous news around the world. So we've got Greeley Times. Oh, you can talk about how do we get from the Tony Awards to Mission Barbecue?
I don't know. Oh, my birthday, you were saying.
Right.
And for my birthday, we got the birthday coupon.
Yeah, but how do we get from the Tonys to that? We're going to talk about last week we did our special Tony Awards broadcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to all the wonderful critics and experts. Did you see Mike Isaacson, who was our guest?
That's crazy, yeah.
What went crazy? What? He was great. He was, or is, the executive producer and artistic director of the Muni Theater out in St. Louis. And we had him on the show last week. It was a recorded interview. It was very interesting, very open, very honest about stuff. And then the day later, there he was on the podium accepting with
crazy, right?
the president. Well, yeah, I mean, to see, there he is. That's our dude. He was just on our show. There he is on the stage of Radio City Music Hall.
Was he the man who was super polite?
Well, a lot of them were, yeah.
So
Well,
all your guests, guess who got the most views so far? So I'm looking at all the views of all of the different...
Yeah.
Like, how you break up the segments?
Oh, individual interviews. Who got the... Well, Mike Isaacson probably has the most broad reach, but all our critics, we interviewed, of course, and they were on our show last week. And then if in our archives, you can watch both the entire episode, and then we chop out the individual segments if you just want to watch a particular interview.
So far, the biggest views, Carrie Purcell.
Carrie Purcell. Yeah, because she's a pretty girl. Of course she's going to get the most views.
No, I think...
If I had boobs, I'd get the most views too.
No, other people had boobs and they didn't get it.
Well, she's young and...
Online, your show...
Yeah.
Got 274 views.
On Facebook.
The Tonys one.
Last week.
Show.
Yeah.
The total show, so I lied. It says... Here's the 986th episode. I'm sorry. Here's the 986th episode, the 20th annual Total Theater Broadway Tony Special, and then you have the whole list of everybody. That got 274 views.
Woo! Baby! I don't know if that's a record for Dave's Gone By. I know that's a drop in the bucket.
Well, during COVID, you had thousands of people. That was COVID.
We never had that.
Yeah.
Really?
There was a time during COVID, you had like 1,000 people.
I was famous and I didn't even know it.
No, you knew it because you asked me all the time
How many views we had.
But I think the problem is like the bad thing and the good thing was COVID. You know, like we had COVID.
Well, yeah. I mean, what else were people doing? They were home on Saturday mornings. What else were they going to watch? And they started watching me. You know, and I was already on video. So it made it very convenient for them to turn on Facebook, and there I was. So considering that we're 4 years now past COVID in a certain sense, I'm still doing this.
I think people are just, the Tonys are like, it's like me with all those toys that you open and see what's in there. You don't know who's going to win. So I think the Tonys are something that people are very curious to get feedback because they want to make an accurate prediction. So they want to be like, I like the show because of doo-doo-doo. Does this person hate it or like it? Like, what do they mean doo-doo-doo, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's always the...
Well, and our little coterie, if you will, of kind of New York. I mean, we're in Maryland now. We started the show in New York. So, and theater is still sort of a New York thing, even though, of course, it's global. There's a segment of our audience that's going to be cultural, artistic, interested, probably watching the Tonys or would watch the Tonys if they got it on their CBS affiliate, whatever. So, yeah, I'm thrilled. It's delightful to get those kinds of numbers on Facebook alone. And especially since also once the show airs, once we do an episode, it goes on my website, davesgoneby.com. It goes on YouTube, our YouTube channel there. It goes on archive.org for eternity in our archive.org channel, Dave's Gone By. It goes on castbox.fm, where the audio only is saved as a podcast. So, yeah, we get our stuff out there. We keep it out there. So who knows? We're still probably getting hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of views per episode, just not when it's live. When it's live, it's nice to know we have a nice little audience looking at us, loving us, giving us their eyeballs.
Your friend and his partner, right? That's
well, I was going to do that in Friends of the Daverhood.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Yeah.
So it has not. Has any week been a good week this year for anybody?
I think every week that you're alive is a good week.
That's a good. Alive and healthy. Every week that you're alive and you're not mending a broken bone or you're
relatively healthy.
Well, yeah, exactly. Relatively
Everybody
healthy.
has different expectations of health.
Well, fair enough. Yeah, if you've been really sick and you're noticeably better, that week is an improvement. If you're fine and you stay fine, that's the ideal of a good week, if you will. Anyway, speaking of a good week, this is going to be a good show also. Not only do we have Greeley Times, we have StoryTime. Now, we have such a backlog of short books to read and share for you. There's one that we got that, is it Chinese? I think it's Chinese, or it might be Thai or Korean or something. There's amazing drawings of things. We're saving that. That's almost too good for today. No, but it's also, we make a promise to our potatoes. And we had to withdraw that promise about 2 or 3 weeks ago because we just ran out of time. Well, this episode of the show, we do have our story time. And we don't have a potato near us just because he'd be screaming.
Oh, why is it?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, wait.
Alien
Hold on.
Tomato.
Wait.
The book. So on Storytime, we will read to you Alien Tomato.
Why is
What?
Is that a tomato? Oh, it's a tomato winking. He's an alien. He's winking.
Oh,
Why is Totoro in the background?
What? Who's Totoro?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a beaver of some sort. Isn't there a beaver or a woodchuck?
I think that's Totoro.
I guess he eats these. Oh, look, the peas are really cute, though. Look at that.
Oh, they're
adorable. Yeah. I've taken my share of peas, and they didn't look like that. They were yellow, though. Anyway, Alien Tomato on Dave's Gone By as our story time. We will read that to you. Bring the kiddies. No, don't. But, yeah, that'll be our story time.
Also, tell them about what you got from the...
All right. Yeah, let me say what's going to be on the show, and then I'll share the big photo of the week. Colorado Limerick of the Damned. we have a new poem about a place in Colorado. As I mentioned, we lived there for a while, so I've been taking it upon myself to write a poem about as many places in the wonderful state of Colorado as I possibly could. Today, we go to Buckeye, Colorado. But yeah, use your imagination. Buckeye, Colorado, I've got a poem, about it. Our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. We also have, yes, the one, the only, the Jewish Rabbi Sol Solomon. And of course, my wife is breathing a sigh of relief because he's not talking politics today. He is, I almost wish he were talking politics instead, is really doing a eulogy. Because what a week it's been. We lost both Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys and Sly Stone of Sly and the Family Stone. Two of the reigning geniuses, honestly, you can use that word, geniuses of 1960s, 70s music, particularly 60s, but no, 70s also. Sly and Bry, or Bry and Sly, as the Rebbe will call them. So, yeah, it's just for boomer people my age. I'm 61. This was like, whoa. Not that they were the highest of the high when I was growing up and listening. That was Dylan, that was Beatles, that was Stones. But if you put on the radio...
Tell them about who sampled Sly, you found out.
I'm an idiot. Okay, I think I know everything about music or music of a certain period, pop, rock, and so forth. And at least remained pretty current with music up until the late 1990s. Grunge came in, I sort of eased away. Hip-hop came in, I pick a song here and there and ignore the rest. And then all the top 40 American radio stuff. A song would appeal to me, I'd like it, but I wouldn't really care about the rest of the artist's work. I just stopped. From late 50s through 90s, that was my period, and I became omnivorously encyclopedic about knowing who did what and what was on what album and what came out when. And that's what you do when you're in your teens, 20s, 30s, 40s. And then all of us, it sort of stopped. Yeah, everything after Elvis was, everything after Guy Lombardo was crap. This is what we turn into, right? But for that era, I thought I knew, and really paid attention to, was, and the weird thing is with Sly and the Family Stone, do you know what got me into them? I knew a couple of their songs. I had their greatest hits album when I was a kid, but didn't really listen to it.
Tell me.
And of course, you on the radio, you heard Everyday People and some of their stuff, but I didn't get it. I wasn't big on Sly and the Family Stone. And then, I swear to you, Pee Wee Herman.
What?
Pee Wee Herman, a.k.a. Paul Rubens, who is back in the news right now because apparently there's a wonderful documentary about him that just came out about 2 weeks ago. And it's apparently very honest and very open, and it shows just how creative he was beyond Pee Wee, and that he was tortured because he was living as a semi-closeted gay man for like 40 years. So apparently a fine documentary about him. But one of my favorite pieces of comedy ever was Pee Wee's turn at the... No, not the TV show. The TV show I already felt was like one rung down. The movie was like a half rung down compared to the stage show that he put together at the Roxy in L.A. That was genius. I'm using that word a lot today.
Why?
Because it was so different. It was so brilliantly funny, minute to minute. It's on YouTube if anybody wants to watch it. It's Pee Wee Herman at the Roxy. This was before he was famous. This is what really should have launched him, or did, honestly. It was the creation of the Playhouse. It was a kids show, but half the jokes were double entendres. It was all over the place. The character was in place, the side characters were in place, but he could be, because it was a cabaret nightclub theater piece, he didn't have to kowtow to the suits at CBS and say, all right, I'll take out that joke. He did what he wanted. Part of that show, which runs about 75 minutes, and it's nonstop, it never flags. It's hysterical, beginning to last. But just when he sort of feels like there's he needs a little oomph, like a musical does, he calls in his friends for an not impromptu, for this
Impromptu? No.
out of nowhere tribute to Sly and the Family Stone. And for about 4 minutes, he and these two other people on the stage who are decent musicians do this medley of Sly and the Family Stone hits. And it's reasonably funny, but it rocks. And it's like, good God. And it made me think, I got to listen to more Sly and the Family Stone. And I started doing that and then realized, oh my God, their catalog is not that deep. But the things that bubble to the top are as great as anything that was put out musically in the 60s and early 70s. He was just, he had that moment. He let it go. But in the moment, he was extraordinary. And I didn't realize, because people sort of diss the first two albums of Sly and the Family Stone. They say the first one, well, they were kind of figuring out their stuff. And then the second one...
How does he relate to Clinton? Was he an offshoot of Clinton, or was he a collaborator?
Well,
were they contemporaries, or were they,
Clinton probably came first. Clinton was more an influencer of Stone, and then they did collaborate on some stuff. I'm pretty sure Clinton, of P-Funk, and friend of the Daverhood, George Clinton. And then the second album came out, and it was Dance to the Music, which showed what that group was capable of, but the rest of the albums kind of... Third album up here, and then they did Stand, which, is considered one of the great albums. And then the Greatest Hits album came out. But, where was I going? Oh, but the first album, people generally don't really pay much attention to. The critics were like, eh. The rap artists, 10 years later, listened to that first album and grabbed and snatched and took, including, I had no idea. How did I not know this? That the classic rap number from LL Cool J, Mama Said Knock You Out, was based on a Sly song from the very first record. And it's not up to the level of the Cool J song, but it's a pretty terrific song itself.
It's the hook for the
and Sly does a whole song with a little bit of that. Of course, LL Cool J just plays that over and over under the rap. But, Sly did that. Underdog is a great song. Sorry?
Was Sly Stone paid for all the samples taken from his music? No. It says Sly Stone was not always paid. He won a $5 million lawsuit in 2015 against his manager and attorney.
Yeah, I read about that, and we thought, because Sly had been living virtually on the street. He had like a camper. He was in a car. He was homeless. Now, granted, and Rabbi Sol will talk about this.
Never collected the money.
This was because they appealed, and it was like he never got the $5 million. Everybody thinks, finally, Sly, after all these years, gets what's coming to him. He gets his royalties. No, he never got it. He made money later in life from other things that I guess pulled him out of his camper van.
What would have been nice is if the people who actually sampled him gave the money and realized they were cheaters.
Exactly. But, back in the day when he was first being sampled, the samplers didn't really realizing they were breaking copyright, probably. And they didn't have any money. When these new rappers were putting out albums, they had no money to their names. And they signed over their lives to the record companies. So,
you wrote a book.
It was all shady. Oh, I never read it, yeah.
In 2023, called
What was it
Thank
called?
You.
Called Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself Again?
Yeah.
But that's how I found out about Sly. Sorry?
That's sad.
Of course it's sad. Of course, he was also the agent of his own destruction. He drugged himself into oblivion for a very long time and became unreliable in terms of showing up for a concert. And that makes fans mad. And managers mad and producers wary and so forth.
Well, he worked with Terry Melcher.
Oh, wow.
In the 60s.
Also
I saw Manson there.
Wow. Speaking of Charles Manson, my wife and I were just watching not the documentary, the miniseries that David Duchovny did a few years back called Aquarius, about the building of the Manson family and how they ended up doing what they were doing. And Dennis Wilson figures prominently in that because Manson became part of Wilson's entourage for a bit, and then they fell out. And Terry Melcher he thought would make him do albums, and that's how the whole Tate LaBianco thing happened. But speaking of Wilson and the Beach Boys, of course, the other passing this week of major note. Not to mention, I know I was like, this guy died, and this guy died. And by the way, actor Harris Yulin died. Yes, actor Harris Yulin died also. And that's a shame, and I saw him be pretty good in a couple of things. But Dennis Wilson, brother of the late, the truly great Brian Wilson. And, I will totally and freely admit that I took the Beach Boys, I shrugged at the Beach Boys all through my teens, 20s, 30s. I hear surfing, on the radio or, Good Vibrations, which I never understood the great appeal of that masterpiece. Beach Boy, it's silly, it's minor, little songs about nothing and kids and teenagers and cars and this is all right. This is not a patch, and I still don't believe it. It's a patch on the Beatles and the Stones and people of that ilk in the 1970s, great solo artists. But then what happened? I think my local library had a box set of the best of the Beach Boys or Beach Boys collection things. And I took it out of the library just to give them another chance, just to see, okay, everybody's saying Pet Sounds is so friggin' great. Let me see or hear the music around Pet Sound and that era. And the music of that era from the Beach Boys was pretty great. Pet Sounds, not a perfect album. It is not Sgt. Pepper, but it has wonderful songs, wonderful arrangements on it. God Only Knows is a friggin' great song. Caroline No is fab. I mean, what Brian was working through in that era, moving from, surf, sun, beach, girls, into sun is depressing, surf, I don't surf anymore. The beach is nice, but it just makes me depressed. Girls, and it's kind of like working through what was essentially, bipolar schizophrenia that he had. And into the music of what still sounded like pop songs that were 2.5 minutes long that you could pop on the car radio. So, like Sly, Wilson also let his demons get to him, drugs, certainly, which didn't help his mental condition, and he became, forget it. He tried, and I can see this happening. I see it happening with artists. It happened with Coppola. In a very different manner of speaking. Coppola had this, almost didn't come out of Apocalypse Now because he just got lost in it, but somehow made a great movie out of it. And then, what was that film that he finally got to make 2 years ago? And people are all over the map about it. It's like, it's ridiculous, it's awful, but only a genius like Coppola could have made it. I haven't seen it. But it's that thing where you have a project and you get so lost in the wiring and the circuitry of it that you can't come out. And that's what happened to Brian Wilson after Pet Sounds. He wanted to make, a teenager's symphony to God and call it Smile. And started working on Heroes and Villains and couldn't get past that really great number. And just like, and never truly came out of it, even though he made some really nice records post Pet Sounds. But that particular project, he just was like, he'd be in the studio with one idea and work for, who knows, 18 straight hours and come out with 10 seconds that he wouldn't end up using. That sort of like, lost in the weedsness. Even though he ultimately did Smile and Smiley Smile, and then wonderfully, later in life, when he really did have like the last 20 years of being productive and some level of normalcy, come out with Brian Wilson's Smile, which got great reviews, sold really well. He was touring. Wilson managed to really come out as best as he could on top, despite everything that happened, in the bowels of his darkest days. But of course, who knew that his darkest days started in 1964? It just didn't manifest in him until a couple of years later. Anyway, this is all by saying, and that's how I, in late life, in like my 40s, appreciated the Beach Boys. as opposed to coming to them much, much earlier in my snobbish. I'm like, well, this is great rock and roll. This is great. Lou Reed is Zappa and Beefheart and this, Beach Boys. Meh, who needs them? As opposed to being more like my dad, who would say whatever it was, if it was a great record, it's like, that's a great record. Didn't matter who did it. Didn't matter what genre it was. It could be salsa. It could be Benny Goodman jazz. It could be the Carpenters. It could be ABBA. It could be, it was my ABBA. It was my dad. It could be, Beethoven's Ninth. He was like, that's great. There's no snobbishness in his musical taste as there was to mine. Probably still is. Anywho.
What's music, Daddy?
Oh, music is just mucus with the letters reversed. Gotta love it. Anywho, Rabbi Sol will have his own take on the passing of Brian Wilson and Sly Stone this week in the Daverhood, his rabbinical reflection. Don't miss it on this very program coming up. By the way, it's 9:30 in the morning Eastern Time here in the Daverhood. You're watching Dave's Gone By, episode 987. Conmigo, Dave Lefkowitz, my wonderful and amazing wife. And speaking of humans who are with us in the Daverhood today, our guest, our very special guest in the Daverhood, is someone that I knew back in 1980/81. Okay? So we're talking more than 40 years. Nostalgia. Da, 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 da. Someone who, in his way, became an entertainer and was trying to entertain people back then. This is someone that was a high school cohort, someone who was an alumnus of my high school during my term there. As a matter of fact, he was an artistic guy, and he was directing shows at the high. Well, thank you. He was directing shows.
I was trying to make it stop.
No, make it stop. His name is Randall, or we all call it, he's Randy to us, Randy Packer. Now,
was he called Randall in school?
no, he's Randy.
Oh.
I think he uses Randall now more when, formally when he's got his name on directing projects. He directs theater out in Texas, and as a matter of fact, the reason we're having him on is because I know the guy.
How did you reconnect?
Well, I mean, I've seen him on Facebook for years, and occasionally say hi and happy birthday. But he's directing a revival of Noel Coward's Private Lives over the next 2-3 weeks out in Conroe, Texas. And he's done a bunch of projects there, so yay to Randy Packer. But I'll tell him a bit of this story too, is that I took one or two theater classes in high school. I went to the kind of high school back in the day when they offered theater classes because we had a good school district with high taxes. So we had theater courses, like acting and stuff. So I took them just to come out of my shell because I was such a shy, weird kid in elementary. I'm sorry, what?
Really?
I think so. And also I was intrigued. I wanted to be.
Yeah, I don't think it's to come out of your shell. I think you were hammy.
I was with my family, not with anybody else.
Hammy undercover.
And so I wanted to pull back the covers. I wanted the world to see, hey, I've got a voice, I've got a spirit, I've got talent, or I thought I did. So let me take a class, and I loved it. I was scared as hell. My knees shook, but I loved being on stage.
What did you love?
The theater games. I loved watching when people would come up with funny stuff in improv, because we had improv game, the Viola Spolin stuff. It's not college; it's high school.
Who was your teacher?
I forget her name. I liked her too.
Was it the same teacher?
No, this is okay. I took a class with this woman, like the year before. And I'm sorry, I wish I remembered her name. And then I don't think I took a class with the guy who was the head of the theater department, a guy named Mr. Levin, Macy Levin, who I've also been in touch with over the years on Facebook, and who had done a lot of directing, like on Long Island and regionally. But he wasn't directing that. He was sort of the overseer, and a student could direct the show, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was the thing. So Randy...
That's a lot of pressure for a high school
Isn't
student.
it?
My God.
Yeah. Yeah, but, this is...
Did they get any extra credit?
Wow. I don't think so. I think it was just you wanted to do it. It was theater. You wanted to do it.
That's a big lift.
Yeah. Well, I mean, did like when we were at the other university where we used to be, did the students who were doing all their, did they get credit? Did they get paid? No. They wanted to be in theater. That was part of what they were doing.
A class, maybe, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe some of them, it counted for a 3-credit course, maybe if they were directing something or working on the design, or the design students as part of their course had to help.
You might have to, yeah. That might be like a checklist, yeah.
That's very possible. But anyway, Randy was directing. I mean, it shows you how long ago this was, because this was among the field of things that you would do in a high school. Neil Simon's first play, or first produced play, Come Blow Your Horn. They chose to direct that because it had a reasonably sized cast for a non-musical.
So what does the director do in plain English?
The director, oh my God, director casts the show.
Whoa.
The director has the basic overall vision for the feeling, the tone, the tempo of the show.
They have a lot of power.
Yeah, they should. They have, otherwise it's chaos. I don't think you can... there's such a thing as devised theater that we studied when I was taking my master's at that university. And I don't, it works, but I don't believe in it. Of like everybody's sort of a collective creator of a project. And it can work, but no, I'm sorry. You need...
So what else do they do? They cast the show. Do they pick the show?
They can.
Okay.
Or they're hired to direct a show. They get on board.
They cast the people, and then what else?
They also, first of all, they have to have the idea of what the show is, what it's about, what the theme of the author is. They have to present like the author's show to the audience to make it clear what the story is, to make it clear what the author's themes are, of what the author wants the person to take beyond the plot of this is what this show is about, this is what we should learn and feel from it. If there's laughs, they got to find where the laughs are. If it's a sad scene, it has to be blocked so that the audience's eyes are in the right place, watching the right actor at the right time, so that it's not lit all over the place and somebody saying something over here, but your attention's over here. It's a lot. And there are people who do it well. I do not. I've tried directing. It's not my skill. But...
What's hard about it?
Everything. Everything. I mean, it's I'm not being facetious. I'm not being
casting people. You got to get the right people.
Yeah, that's
Is it when the actors don't perform well, you have to help them? Is that, or is that?
That too.
Or is it that they? What's the? I don't know. I don't know where the stumbling points are.
And well, God.
I mean, I can guess.
Any particular moment can be a stumbling block.
You don't have to get funding as a director. Like,
that's the producer's job.
So that would be to be the hardest.
But you're also the one who figures out, sort of like, well, we need this set and we need these props, and we have to pay for this.
Don't you have tech people?
Yeah, but you also maybe sometimes you choose the tech people. You're the one who tells the tech people, I want this scene to feel like this. So you tell the lighting person.
Is there a character? Is there a Tony for Best Director? There must be.
Sure, Best Director of a Play and Musical.
Oh! I'll look on the
help me out here. Sorry about not knowing that off the top of my head.
Who won Best Director of a Play and Best Director of a Musical at the 2025 Tony Awards? Director Michael Arden.
For? Oh, maybe Happy Ending, right?
It says at the 25 Tony Awards, Sam Pinkelton won for Best Direction of a Play for Oh Mary, and Michael Arden for the musical Maybe Happy Ending.
There you go. Yeah, because, I mean, directing a play and directing a musical they're not wholly different things, but there's a certain sense of scope and scale that a musical has that goes beyond what you just have to deal with actors on a set, on a stage, being lit against set pieces and designs and props and things. A direct. I'm trying to think of the way you always come up with analogies of theater when you're trying to explain things involving sociology and gerontology and all of that. I'm trying to come up with
director's like a program manager, as a project manager. Like you do everything.
Yeah.
So you see the full project, you see the scope, and then you have to make sure that every little detail gets done, and that everything integrates together, and then you have to address people's concerns, problems, issues, performance, and then make sure the whole project comes together.
Yes. Does that sound easy?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. Well, you've done project managing. All right. Yeah. Well, to me, it was never.
Do they get paid well?
On Broadway, they get paid pretty well. In high school, no, they do not. In regional theater,
probably got AP credit.
Well, there you go.
I hope you got some AP credit.
But even in Straw Hat or local community theater, directors are almost like volunteers. Or maybe they aren't.
I'm sure they're volunteers.
They do it for love. And the minute they did a week into it, they're like, why did I do this?
Oh, wow.
Well, imagine, you're responsible for every minute.
Could you interview a director so we could learn more?
We've interviewed.
But ask them just about directing, the process of directing.
Sure. I will, yeah. I mean, because a lot of times on this show we don't get into these. Like when you were directing this show, how did you do this scene and what was this and what was?
But not even that. I'd like to know like what is it like what each person like. Remember what you did at Stage Buddy when you had the show in the village?
Oh yeah. Gesundheit. We're waiting on a sneeze here.
You had in the Stage Buddy show, you had like a director, producer, casting agent, and they would talk about what they did, and then they would review people.
Right, I remember that.
I like that a lot.
I wish more people that like. So, but yeah, we can definitely talk more directly and deeply. In fact, we'll be talking with director Randy Packer today on Dave's Gone By, who directed me in the first show I was ever in. I auditioned for and tried out.
Were you Desdemona?
I would have been. No, I would have been too hammy. I would have, like when Desdemona dies after Othello suffocates her. I would still move.
Shatner.
You know, 2 minutes later, like pulling focus. You know, just sort of like, watch me, audience. I'm supposed to be dead, but don't look over there. I'm still on stage. Watch me, right? But yeah, and I'll tell Randy this story too, and I probably told you this, but Come Blow Your Horn is this fun, light 1950s Simon show, late 50s, about this Jewish family where you've got a father who makes his job, his thing is he runs a wax fruit factory.
Oh God, is that a thing?
Well, somebody's got to make wax fruit. They still make wax fruit. So, and he's like this middle-aged, harried, kind of frustrated, angry Jewish guy. His wife is the typical classic Juyenta, and he's got these two young, not so young anymore, boys who are, one of whom is kind of this ladies' man, and he's kind of a ne'er-do-well and may become a bum. And the other son is all studious and good, but no truck with women, no life experience. So the older brother's trying to take the younger kid under his wing, and this is the family unit. This is the family dynamic. Yeah. So I'm trying out. I'm like, oh my God, I am so.
The mother.
Well,
been cute with the wig. You could have done it.
Well, I already had like scraggly beard hairs, so I could have been an old Jewish mother. Yes. But I knew I would be unbelievably right for the role of the younger brother. Because I was nerdy. I weighed about 104 pounds. I was skittish and timid, and I could play nervous. I watched a ton of Woody Allen movies, so I could like that. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I think I'm going to try out because I think I can get that role. And
you thought it was typecasting.
Yeah, which is, a lot of times, if you cast the right person in the right role, that's 80% of the work. If the person is a reasonably decent actor, the audience will almost immediately believe them because they're just cast right. It's right for them.
That's true.
So I get up on there and I read a side or two, and there's a couple of game things that the director, that Randy was asking. And at one point he asked me to do, I don't know if he told me to do the character or to pick a character from Bugs Bunny cartoons, but I think he told me, he's like, make believe that you're Yosemite Sam doing something.
Oh.
Yosemite Sam.
Yeah.
So I squat down on like my, just because it's improv, you just go with it. And went with it, with the grandma and the anger and stuff. I get off there.
That's like the guy from Father Brown that talks like that.
I'm sure I was even more overacting than he was.
Oh, wow.
And then I go off, and and was astonished when, 2 days later on the call board, I see my name on the cast of Come Blow Your Horn.
Were you excited?
I was like, I can't believe it, the thrill. And then noticed that they had me as the father.
Wow.
Not the nerdy, scared young boy, but because Randy saw in me an angry, belligerent, frustrated Jewish old man, which I have been forever. And he cast me in that, and it was the right casting.
Played the kid?
I was funny.
Who played the kid?
Did
you get a review of your role?
No, I don't recall if there was a review in like the news high school newspaper, the Spectrum, the U.S. Spectrum, but the audiences. We had 2 performances. We rehearsed for 2 months.
After rehearsing that long, you should have had like a year.
We should have run, yes.
Month. You could at least had a month.
We should still be running now.
Like cats.
And I would be age appropriate for. I'd actually be older than Father now, because Herschel Bernard, or was it? I think it was Herschel Bernardi. No. It was Lou. I forget who played him in the movie. It might have been Herschel.
You want me to look it up? What am I looking at?
Who played the father in Come Blow Your Horn?
Okay.
I don't know if it was Herschel Bernardi. Who played it on Broadway and who played in the film?
Who played the father in Come Blow Your Horn? It looks like...
Lou Jacoby?
It doesn't say. Let's see. Frank Sinatra. Now, let me see. Okay.
Well, no, he was in the movie. Yes, he was. Yeah.
It doesn't say who they played. They were Frank Sinatra, Cobb, Bill.
Lee J. Cobb?
Yeah. Dan Blocker. Oh, wait, here we go. Wikipedia.
I haven't seen that movie in a long time. No, but Frank Sinatra was one of the kids.
Starting cast. What's the father's name?
I honestly don't remember.
Cobb is Harry Baker. Frank Sinatra, Alan Baker.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Ekman is Dan Blocker. And then Buddy Baker is Tony Bill.
Well, I was the Lee J. Cobb father. Oh. Lee J. Cobb, I don't know why maybe Lee J. Cobb was Jewish, but he doesn't read particularly Jewish to me. Yeah.
I don't know.
And he certainly doesn't read for comedy.
So I'm going to ask on the play.
Who was in the theater? Yeah.
In the theater production of Come Blow Your Horn, who played the father? Lou Jacoby.
It was Lou Jacoby.
Yeah,
Okay.
It says in the original Broadway production, Come Blow Your Horn, the father, Mr. Baker, was played by Lou Jacoby.
That makes sense. Lou Jacoby. I totally see Lou Jacoby. I was doing Lou Jacoby without even knowing I was doing Lou Jacoby. So that was my role. And Randy saw something in me that was right for that part, and I blossomed. I'm not saying I didn't overact. I'm not saying that.
Is that where you developed your love for performing on stage from that show? Is that what did it?
That taught me I could do it. That taught me, and I could get laughs.
Amongst people, right?
Yeah, that was amazing for me. That moment of holy cow.
Why did it only go on 2 times?
It was high school. It's not. We weren't a regional or an off-Broadway production or an equity showcase. You work, you go crazy. You have a high school auditorium that probably fits, 12 to 1,500 people. I mean, we're talking about the size of the Winter Garden, maybe. And then, you do 2 shows, maybe 3 if it's a musical. And that's, where else are you going to get an audience? We would have been happy to do another couple of performances. But
Yeah.
when, how do you sell tickets? How do you get people to come? It would have been...
All the parents. All
And,
the, you know,
yeah,
the
they
parents.
come. My parents came twice, duh. You know, my Aunt Bonnie came,
But I would
Esther
think
came.
that's what they do when they have, even when, remember our friend was in community theater, it was a dinner theater?
Yeah.
And the majority, the bulk of the audience, I think it was an anniversary or birthday, people would do dinner theater. But, you know, the food's not super good.
It's good.
And the acting's not super good, but most people who went were family.
Right. Well, that's the thing. So if you run something like that dinner theater 4 more weeks, who's coming?
I know.
You know, immediate family will keep coming.
Yes.
Outer family say, well, I've seen it twice. Thank you. It's great. Guy on the street, like, no, I got other things to do.
That's true.
That's the problem. And with high school theater, too. Who's going to run and go see... people will be curious. They'll support the
Or
local...
wouldn't agents, like, I would think in New York, agents would go to a lot of shows, like they, you know how they scout players?
If they, at the High School of Performing Arts in Manhattan,
Yeah.
Juilliard, sure.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They're not coming out to Ulick High School to look for a star.
You never know.
You never know. You never know. We had a producer living like 3 blocks from my house. I didn't even know it. What's his name? The Stoley Man.
Oh, Jerry Weintraub.
Jerry Weintraub. He lived like, just down the road. He could have come. He could have made us all.
Maybe he did, but he didn't know.
Right.
He might have attended every performance, David. You don't know.
He might well have. He might well have plucked us all from obscurity. But
That shirt is so pretty.
so anyway, that was
You like
like
it?
what? Sorry?
You like it? Look how pretty it looks. See?
I always feel when I wear shirts like this, like it's a fat man shirt, though. Like these are the kind of shirts really fat guys wear because it distracts you from the fact that. And I'm no longer, but obese.
No,
I'm probably
I
technically
think
obese.
they're just beautiful summer shirts. Like it's gorgeous.
Yeah, no, I like it. And it looks. I think it pops on screen rather
Because
nicely.
it's not dots, it's flowers. It's so pretty.
Yeah, and it's appropriate
It's
for
like
the
a
weather.
negative look, right? It's like instead of having the lighter background with the darker flowers, it's like the flowers are taken out of the background. I love it.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's manly, yes, but I like it too.
Gorgeous.
Me too.
When are you going to what is your friend on?
Well, we've been talking all
at
about.
10 o'clock, yeah.
Well, we've been talking about Randy Packer and the fact that he directed me in "Come Blow Your Horn" back in 1981
Love it.
at Hewlett High School. Gave me my first real taste. Ruined my life essentially.
No, I think let you become who you were supposed to be.
In a way, well, in that moment. But I did not become. No, I was supposed to be rich and famous. I was a brilliant director.
I don't think that any person who goes into the arts goes into it thinking they're going to make money.
Oh,
Most
no.
artists know that our arts are not the. If you wanted to make money, you would have gone into Wall Street or been like, The arts.
I
are
didn't
not
necessarily want to be.
for,
No, I just wanted to make a living. I wanted to be one of those actors.
How many actors do though?
10%. I could have been 1 out of 10.
I think even less than that.
Maybe.
Well, let me ask.
I would have been happy to be one of those people who just do 1 or 2 off-Broadway shows a year.
How many actors make a living from being an actor? Oh, here it says, wow, a very small percentage. This is AI. Acting Magazine says 2%.
Really?
It says the reality is that about only 2% of actors can make a full-time living from acting alone, while many more struggle with inconsistent work and low pay. Acting is highly competitive, financially unstable career requiring persistent side jobs and years of unpaid or low-paid work before achieving success.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely
This
true.
is Actors Acting Magazine, so it's, knows.
Yeah, no, it is. Backstage will give you the same percentages, I'm sure.
They say, they're quoting the same article.
Yeah. And the thing is, but, it also depends on what the side jobs are. If the side jobs are waitressing, or selling real estate or something.
Your friend worked in a clothing store, right?
Yeah. However, if the side job is voiceovers, that's different. Then it's like, okay,
I'll be back in a second, but I don't think they mean that though. I think they mean most of them are the low, out of the field, out of the industry job.
Out of the industry job, right? Which I ended up doing anyway. But there you go. Anywho, Randy Packer going to be our guest in the Daverhood, talking old times, talking nostalgia, talking new times, because he is, of course, directing, and he's directing Noel Coward's Private Lives in Texas. He's going to be at the Players Theater in Conroe, Texas. That is happening from June 20th, so coming this weekend through July 6th. Don't miss it. And of course, if you're a Hewlett alum, if you know me from Facebook, from the very fact that I was a Hewlett High School graduate, by all means, you're going to want to keep your dial right here on Dave's Gone By on this Saturday, June 14th, 2025, our 987th episode of the program that we're calling Packer of the Lead. Get it? Packer of the Lead? Packer of the Lead. Because Randy Packer's guesting on the show. We'll also have Greeley Times, Rabbi Sol Solomon on the passings of Sly Stone and Brian Wilson, StoryTime with Alien Tomato, woo-hoo, and our Colorado Limerick of the Dam for Buckeye, Colorado. So, lots and lots of fun stuff to do. Just a reminder that our website is davesgoneby.com, davesgoneby.com, where, as I mentioned before, the archives of every show we've ever done, with one or two that got lost in the ozone, sorry, but every other show we've ever done is right there. You can listen to me or watch me from 6 years ago, any episode from that year. You can go scroll all the way back and hear what I sounded like in 2007, when we'd already been on the air for 4 or 5 years. So yeah, it's all there for free. You can scroll, you can download, davesgoneby.com. And if you want to write to me, davesgoneby@aol.com is a place that you can do that. So before we get to some of the main stuff, we haven't, an hour of the show has passed, and we haven't hit any of our segments yet, per se. But what else? Since we're here, I do want to tell you, you want to talk about, just being hit and hit and hit with everything in the news, personal stuff that's going on, and this passing of major figures, musical figures of our youth. Word comes down on Facebook about a week and a half ago that our friend of the Daverhood, who is alive and hopefully reasonably well, Barrett Hansen, Dr. Demento, is retiring. Let's take a moment under the smogberry trees to let that information sink in. Dr. Demento, whom I started listening to in the mid-1970s, basically as soon as he got syndicated onto New York radio, discovered him when my dad was twiddling the dial in the car, driving home from somewhere, and suddenly, instead of just the top 40 stuff that was on the radio, I was hearing The Cockroach That Ate Cincinnati, and Laurel and Hardy bits, and Benny Bell, and I was like, what? There's a lunatic on the radio! And it's the greatest thing ever. And I became obsessive. Like so many people have been posting on the Demento Facebook feed of I used to take my little cassette recorder and record every show and listen to. I thought I was the only one doing that. That's one of the good things about Facebook. You suddenly find out the lunatic, silly things that you did were exactly what 100 other people did when they were your age and listening and doing stuff. So yes, I used to have my cassette ready on Sunday nights. So Dr. Demento, he's been off terrestrial radio for more than a decade now. But instead of just giving up the ghost and saying, well, we can't sell ads anymore, we can't syndicate, nobody wants this kind of radio now, everything is conglomeratized in terms of radio broadcasting. And he tried Sirius, I don't think that worked out. So I said, I'm going to try internet radio. I'm going to try my own website, keep doing Dr. Demento shows. In fact, have a little more leeway. They don't have to be 75 minutes long plus commercials. They can go long as I want them. Their language can be what I want it to be. I can play songs I could never play before or play them unbleeped. And he started doing this for the past 10 or so years. So people think, well, Dr. Demento went away. No, he's been doing the Dr. Demento show week after week after week after week. Unfortunately, it's not free. There's a $2 per show fee if you want to access it, or there's a pretty high annual fee if you want to, et cetera. But you can access all his archives going back into the 70s and 80s, as well as his new stuff every week. And then he comes out, after being featured, by the way, a few weeks ago, after having this big thing in his honor for like his 84th birthday, everybody coming out to honor him and be part of this big Los Angeles breakfast thing and radio broadcaster kind of Hall of Fame. Then the news comes out that he's backing away, that he's going to do a few more shows, and they're going to be specialty nostalgic things like all-time top 20 and, greatest Halloween show, scary songs ever and things like that. But then, by the end of the year, the end, if you will, of the Dr. Demento show. And it just is like, my heart sank lower reading that than even the passings of Sly Stone and Brian Wilson, because they were old and so forth. And it's like, I love their music, but their greatest music is 40 years ago. I'm like, no, Dr. Demento can't stop. No. There are certain things that should never, ever, ever, ever end, even if they have to generate an AI Dr. Demento with his voice to keep the show going. And lots of people on college radio, on regular radio, and independent freeform radio have tried to do what the Doctor does with varying levels of success. Because, I can play weird funnies. I can put a Tom Lehrer song next to an Alan Sherman song, next to a Logan Whitehurst song, and so forth, and do interstitial stuff. But it never quite works the way Dr. Demento worked. He just had the magic, right? And what's lovely is that he has lived long enough to understand his appeal. He may be realizing now just how widespread and deep his appeal goes over generations, with all these people posting, I loved your show, I've been listening for 40 years, I remember listening this and this and this. And the very fact, of course, that Weird Al Yankovic, the success of Weird Al Yankovic is very much dependent, as everybody knows, on the Dr. Demento show, to the point where Weird Al, when he made his recent movie, his fake mockumentary, which is pretty funny and you should see, about Weird Al's life, Dr. Demento, who's played by Rainn Wilson, has a comic, ridiculous, evil twist to it. But it's an acknowledgement, because Weird Al could have gone lots of different directions, but he's like, yes, Dr. Demento will be represented in my movie. Right? So Demento knows. That's a love. It's sort of like Sondheim. Sondheim knew for 20-something years, right, that the outpouring of love from the Broadway and theater community and the music community was just nonstop. Everybody wanted to give him an award. Everybody did give him an award. Everybody just bowed in his presence, at least mentally. He knew what he meant to so many people and what he meant to the theater. I think Dr. Demento has already been finding out and lived long enough to discover just how much he meant to so many demented people. But it just hurts. My real hope is that this is just like, I'm 84. It's a lot of work to put together a show every week. I've loved doing it. It's time. I'll curate the archives. I'm going to deal with my literally hundreds of thousands of records and CDs and tapes in my house. It's time. As opposed to, I'm just hoping it's not, a deeper reason than that for backing away, in terms of health. I'm just hoping, no, it's just Demento resting on his Smogberry laurels.
Didn't you say he just was tired, right? They're doing all these GoFundMe for different Demento things on your...
Are they really?
I don't know what it is.
What are they trying to fund?
I guess different songs, like, apparently on your thing people are asking, like,
What?
I can't, it's hard to search.
I know there was supposed to be a real Dr. Demento documentary, a decade ago, called Under the Smogberry Trees.
It's so hard to find, but they're talking about, like,
different
songs,
but who's
saving different songs. I don't understand it, but you'd have to look through your stuff. It's like finding different songs, saving different songs.
I'm wondering if maybe there's just a GoFundMe to keep the archives going because somebody's got to pay for the rights to air all those things, ASCAP, BMI. It's I don't know. I don't honestly know. But congratulations to Dr. D on his retirement. He's still going to, as I said, for the next few weeks, come up with a show on certain dates before he has his final countdown and says, literally for the last time, stay demented, which he did say on this program when he was a guest twice in the Daverhood. So not only is he an icon to me and someone who influenced my desire to be doing this and to be on radio.
Somebody wanted to fund a song. They said, like, can you find that song? And
oh, that could be just one thread of all the people
all of
posting.
I can look it up. There's an official Dr. Demento thing.
Oh, yeah, as well. There ought to be. And I also hope that maybe once he stops doing new shows, there'll be a package price for the year where you can just pay and enjoy all the archives. An annual fee and just listen to your heart's content. I doubt it. I don't know. But at that point, maybe for my birthday present, that's what I will do for myself. Just give myself a Dr. Demento subscription and revel in what he does. And I will say this, if you don't know this, and I don't think I'm letting out a secret that the doctor doesn't know, or so. But if you love Dr. Demento and you're not ready to subscribe or listen to his news shows, once a week, live on the radio out in California, there's I believe it might be an internet-only station, but it might also be on the regular dial. It's KEGR Radio, and they broadcast a vintage, complete Dr. Demento program. They of the hundreds and hundreds of episodes Demento did, I think they have a selection that they go from of about 100 to 200. So it's a fairly limited range from the 80s to the early aughts. But, you can tune in on Sunday nights and get demented, which I have been doing for years. So I thank the folks at KEGR for what they're doing. I certainly hope they keep doing that well after The Good Doctor.
They're asking a lot, like, what was your favorite song?
Yeah. Well, sure.
It's hard to. I thought there was someone doing it. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, or maybe it was posted and not. There's tons of postings ever since he announced his retirement.
Yeah,
people have been crawling out of the woodwork to say, "Thank you, Dr. Demento. Thank you, Dr. Demento." Anyway,
that's actually very true.
Speaking of the land,
Weird Al should take over.
Everybody's been saying that. Everybody's been saying Weird Al should do the Dr. Demento show. It's work.
And he don't want to do it.
He's touring. He's making millions of dollars touring. He hasn't put out new albums because the recording industry is so different than it used to be. He'll put out a song here and there. But it isn't just like reaching into your record collection and spinning. People send you shit. You've got a log stuff.
Maybe Dr. Demento had a staff that could continue on.
Yeah, tiny little...
I'm surprised they didn't do it.
Captain Chaos, Jungle Judy, where are you?
Yeah.
Thelonian Productions, do it! If I knew that I could make a microscopic living, I would do it. I would gladly do it. I would love to set myself up with an internet station or an internet show, pay ASCAP, pay BMI, pay YouTube, whatever the fuck they ask of me, and say, okay, and I wouldn't call myself doctor. I would say Dr. Dave Mento.
Yeah, but you're not a doctor. He wasn't a doctor either.
Okay, Master Dave Mento.
I would call it the deliriously demented.
That has possibilities. I would call it staying demented.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that, staying demented. And if I could get people, even like the real Dr. Demento has, to chip in and pay the cost of the financing or the licensing and the website and the server.
Who gives them don't the authors give them rights to the songs? I mean, that's the...
Well, if they're sending them in over the transom, they can say, yes, you have my permission to play this. Yeah. If Dr. Demento wants to play a Demented Beach Boys song, he's kind of, Yeah. So there's a lot
That's too much.
involved.
Much work. That's
No kidding. Unless, in his heyday, the doctor made a decent living because the radio station was paying. Syndicators, would make him, etc. but then that tailed away, trickle, 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 and he probably made a half-decent, side living for the past 10 years with his website. But collecting a lot of listeners or viewers, or listeners, because he had the name, he had the reputation, he had the history.
How did he become who he is?
Oh, well, he was just, first he was a roadie when he was,
Dr. Demento was a roadie?
In his 20s. He was on the road with bands. That was the job you got back then. And then he got on the radio, local radio, and it was the early FM freeform days. So he would be playing the albums that were coming out, like Sly and the Family Stone, and he would be playing Stones and Beach Boys and Beatles and Janis Joplin, the stuff they were playing, but a lot freer than circumscribed radio formats. And then he would sneak in because he was such a music fan.
Like weird stuff?
Okay, old stuff, Big Spiderbeck, something with some Louis Armstrong, and a goofy song he remembered from his youth, and Spike Jones, right, and Mickey Katz maybe, he would add more and more of those because he loved them, and listeners would call in and say, "What is that ridiculous? What, shaving cream? What is that?"
Yeah.
And I forget the exact story, but a fellow broadcaster at the radio station said, "God, some of the stuff you're playing is really demented," and gave him the Dr. Demento name. It's kind of like, our late friend in the Daverhood, Kreskin, George Kresge. He was Kreskin.
Yeah.
It was Carson who's the amazing Kreskin. Sometimes it's not people coming up with their own thing.
Just like they got named by somebody. That's cool.
You named this show.
Dave GB?
Yeah, Dave's Gone By. I was going to call it These Foolish Things. Yeah. And then you came, no, put your name in it. Dave's Gone By, right? So, this broadcaster said, Dr. Demento's here. And it stuck. Right? It stuck for
clever people,
50 years.
Clever people make clever names for other clever people.
Meanwhile, that other broadcaster, no offense, but who remembers him, Dr. Demento, beloved.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we don't know. Maybe
sometimes that's what happens. So, anyway, congratulations, I guess, go out to Dr. D. And much good health. May he live to 90s. May he live to Tom Lehrer's age, and keep getting feted. And every time there's something about old-time great radio, he's like, please come,
I hope he just wants to enjoy his life and have a little break.
Me too. Anyway, let's enjoy, before we get to Randy Packer in the Daverhood, our guest theatrical director, Randy Packer, is going to be with us. We'll have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. We'll have StoryTime with Alien Tomato. Woo! And Rabbi Sol Solomon offering his eulogizing his sermon about Sly Stone and Brian Wilson. Let's move back to beautiful, wonderful, glorious, actually it really was, Greeley, Colorado, because there's a newspaper out there, the Greeley Tribune, which once a week calls the police station, the local cops.
No, aren't you going to play the thing first?
What thing? Oh, I don't think I have the theme on this.
No, the interview, because I'm going to go.
Oh, yeah, all right. Tell you what, let's hold that. Why don't we?
Yes, okay.
We'll do Greeley Times in a little bit, along with the other segments. Then let us go and bring in to the Daverhood the person who directed me. The person who directed me in high school in my first play that I was ever in, called "Come Blow Your Horn," the Neil Simon, kind of minor classic, and he is still directing after all these years. He's out in Texas now. In fact, he's directing a production of Noel Coward's comedy, Private Lives, which you can see from June 20th through the first week of July, if you go to Conroe, Texas, the Players Theater. So let me share the screen. Don't need to see my Zoom workplace. Don't need to see that. Don't need to see that. What you do need, I don't need to see my iTunes. There we go. Now let's open this up and let's get Randy Packer in the Daverhood on this Saturday morning, June 14th, 2025, here on Dave's Gone By. Here on Dave's Gone By, this is, quite honestly, a face and a voice from my past. And when I say my past, I'm talking about 40 to 45 years ago, back when I was in high school, lovely George W. Hewlett High School on Long Island. This was a fella that was matriculating along with me, but I guess I didn't have a sense of you until I got involved in theater, which was fairly late in my high school path. And I mean, I guess I can tell the story, or we'll both tell the story of you were not an actor, but you were learning at that point already to be a director, right? So the first show that I ever tried out for, I had taken 1 or 2 classes in theater in high school. And I said, you know what, I got the bug, I got bit. So let me try out for whatever the school play is. I knew I wasn't going to do a musical, but you guys were doing Come Blow Your Horn, Neil Simon's first hit. I mean, people have kind of forgotten that one, but it was a big hit before Star Spangled Girl and Odd Couple and all those others.
Yes.
And I tried out, and I remember the audition. Do you remember the auditions for Come Blow Your Horn in high school, Randy Packer?
I really don't. I really don't. It was a long time ago. It was the first show I ever directed, and I've done a lot since then, so no, I don't.
Well, then I'll refresh your memory, since this is kind of a dialogue. I just remember the plot of Come Blow Your Horn is this kind of blowhard dad and his Jewish wife, and then they've got 2 sons, and one son is kind of brash and know-it-all and going to be successful and good with girls, and the other's really sort of nervous and nerdy, and the older brother's taking him under his wing. So I was going to try out, I said, oh my God, I'm perfect for that younger, nerdy, nervous, neurotic brother. And I went in and I said, okay, if I'm going to nail anything, I'm going to nail this. And I went in there and tried to do my best. And then one of the games you had us do, I don't even know if you remember this, was to do like a cartoon character from Warner Brothers. And you had me do, or maybe I chose to do, Yosemite Sam. You probably made me do Yosemite Sam. And I just sort of squatted down on both knees with my fingers like this, like, you rascal, whatever. And went out of there and just was, I have no idea what the hell I was just doing. And then like 2 days later, I look on the call board and you would cast me, but not as the nerdy son. You cast me, and this is so prescient, as sort of the angry, blustering, blowhard, always oppressed father figure. And I think I did pretty well. I got some laughs, but do you now remember any of that?
I don't remember the audition process. I really honestly only have vague memories of this show. It was senior year, right? So that would have been 44 years ago.
Yeah.
I know, I shouldn't say that.
1981, yeah.
Yeah. So a lot has happened since then. I have vague memories of the production. I seem to recall that the production went well. It was well received. But it was a long time ago.
No, the one thing I remember besides like the laughter and the audiences, I think we did 2 performances. And I remember, first of all, you rehearsed us to a fairly well. We were in rehearsal for about 2 months on this, like 4 or 5 days a week for 2 hours after school. And we just rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed to the point, and I think you might enjoy this, that when I first later started doing journalism, arts journalism, I was working for Playbill, and I interviewed some actor. I was asking them a question. And I was like, well, when you rehearse, how long do you have? Do you like 2 months when you're doing this Broadway show? And everybody in the room started laughing at me at the idea that these equity Broadway actors would have 2 whole months of rehearsal.
Right. Right. So it's interesting. When I'm directing a professional show, I'll take as long as the producers will allow me for rehearsal, but they're paying people, they're paying actors during rehearsals, so you don't have the luxury of that. If I'm directing in a community theater where people aren't getting paid or are just getting a stipend, I will take I'll take 2 months because I like to, and just from an artistic perspective, I like to let actors just really kind of marinate in their roles. I like to, if I have the time, to spend a couple of weeks with a very loose rehearsal structure, where actors can just start to kind of feel the rhythm of their characters, where the blocking can develop organically based on what the actors are doing. But yeah, if people are getting paid, you get 3.5 weeks on a straight play, maybe 6 weeks on a musical. But and it's understandable. I mean, it's just the economics of the situation. But I don't think it's the most conducive toward creating great art.
Here's one more memory that I'll share with you since sadly you don't remember the moment by moments of Come Blow Your Horn the way I do, or my genius when I was up there.
But no, I do remember your genius. You were great.
Thank you, Red. No, and we had great people there. We had Robert Ostrovsky was the dad. We had the Breyer sisters, I think, as the girls.
The girls, yeah. Kenny. What was Ken's last name? Played the younger brother.
He was great. What was his name? Kenny.
I can see his face. I can't remember his last name now.
Yeah, but I do remember that we were so well rehearsed for it. We had Swiss watch timing up until the moment when you have to be ready for this kind of thing. And we're up there, and there's a doorbell supposed to ring. And, we have this cool sound crew backstage doing their thing, not Foley artists, but making the noises. And suddenly the doorbell doesn't ring. And it doesn't ring. And every single one of us is up there ready for the next line, but the next line can't happen until someone comes in. And then I think Robert had the presence of mind to thumper a little bit and improv until finally someone slammed on the door. Oh, look! And then I remember we all came off because actors are so self-centered and so whatever. And we started yelling at the sound guy. And he said, it broke. I was pushing the buzzer. It broke. And it wasn't his fault at all. We felt so bad. But we felt up there without a net. Anyway, I'm telling all the stories here. So that was senior year of high school. Last thing I did in high school was Come Blow Your Horn. Last thing you did. And then you reminded me just before we went on the air that you got into NYU. What were you going to study there?
I was an acting major there, and I've continued. Well, I've continued acting. I actually took a long hiatus. I attended NYU for 3 semesters as an acting major. Did some directing there as well. I dropped out and moved to Chicago, where I did theater for several years. I founded a company there and became artistic director of the company, which in hindsight, I think was a mistake. I was in my 20s, and while I had an artistic vision, I was completely over my head with the administrative end of things, and it just really burned me out. So I left, decided to take a little hiatus from the theater. I went back and got a degree in philosophy. So
good. So something that will get you a real job. What did you do with a degree in philosophy, Randy?
Well, I went to law school.
Okay, yeah.
And, I had always planned to go back to theater because it's all I ever wanted to do. But, life happens. I decided when I finished my philosophy degree, I decided that I really didn't like being broke all the time. So I decided to pursue something with a steadier paycheck. So I went to law school. I got busy starting my career, got married, had kids, and next thing you know, decades had passed. When my son, who's the younger of my 2 children, started college a couple of years ago, I decided to get back into it. I auditioned for a community theater production of Wait Until Dark. I had no idea what I had left in the tank, and really didn't know much about the theater scene here in Houston, where I live. So I got cast in that. It was actually a very, very good production with some terrific actors. And I started to become more immersed in the local theater scene, realized there's a really vibrant theater scene here in Houston. And so in the couple of years since then, I've been doing a mix of professional and community theater as both actor and director. Last year, when I was kind of getting my name out there, I acted almost exclusively. Now, as people have gotten to know me, directing opportunities are starting to come up. And it's been great. I've been going nonstop now for a year and a half.
How long When did you actually move to Texas, and why did you
moved to Texas in 2002?
Oh, yeah.
For a job. I had been in private practice as a lawyer. When my daughter was born, I wanted to get out of that just because the hours are so demanding. It's not really compatible with being an involved parent. So I found a public sector job here in Texas and moved here. And I've been, my job description has changed a bit, but I've been in essentially the same job since.
You're still in law. You are still, you're a full-time.
I'm still practicing law. I'm starting to think about retirement, but my son has 2 years of college left and is thinking about medical school, so it might be a little while.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so I've been in Texas for since 2002, 23 years. That's hard to believe. And if you had asked me 24 years ago to name places I would never live, Texas would have been near the top of the list.
Certainly,
Austin is actually a really cool city. If you can tolerate the universally terrible weather and the fact that it's just so really sprawling and there's not very good mass transit, so you have to drive everywhere. But it's an incredibly diverse city. There's a great arts scene here, not just theater. I mean, there's great music. In fact, I read recently that Houston is the only city with professional companies that have resident companies in opera, symphony, theater, and ballet. The Alley Theater in Houston, this is actually really sad, but the Alley Theater in Houston is now the only remaining regional theater in the United States with a resident acting company.
Times change. Yeah.
But, so there's just a lot going on here. It's really a great city.
So let me ask you, when you dipped your toes back in the water, in getting back into the theater thing, what was the first? You did Waiting Until Dark, and then what came after that?
Then I did a production of Cymbeline, a rarely done Shakespeare play. I guess scholars kind of categorize it as a romance, which is sort of a catch-all category for things that don't neatly fit into comedy, tragedy, or history. And it's a weird play. It's very late Shakespeare, and he pulls in a lot of devices from his other plays. It's a very strange play. But so I did that. Then I did a play by Donald Margulies called Time Stands Still, which was, he's just a wonderful writer. I was in New York a couple of weeks ago, and I saw his most recent play called A Lunar Eclipse at Second Stage. It's terrific. Then I did back-to-back productions of Hamlet. I played Polonius in one and Claudius in the other. Very different productions.
Doesn't it suck that you're at the age, that we're both at the age, we never got to play, I don't know if you ever got to play Hamlet. I never got to play Hamlet.
I did.
Player teaser. No, but now we're at Polonius age.
Well, I like to think I'm still a little young for Polonius, but, I grew, my beard grows in very gray, so I grew my beard in, and, that was a wonderful production, a really great cast, and it was a pretty big budget production. The production values were just amazing. And then the other Hamlet I did was in the park, and we actually did it in two suburbs of Houston, so it had to be very portable, so the production was much more minimalist. And I really don't quite get the appeal of Shakespeare in the Park in Southeast Texas. It was a modern dress version, so I'm playing Claudius in a suit and tie, and it's 90 degrees with about 150% humidity out there. And
Ophelia's, she's in the ship, she's just swagging mosquitoes the whole time. There's oil gushers going up behind her. But of all the theater experiences you've had, besides, of course, Come Blow Your Horn, what has been the most profound and amazing one for you so far? Not that there won't be more.
How to Stand Still was an amazing experience. It was one of those rare situations where you have great material to work with. And I mean, Margulies he won the Pulitzer in 2000 for his play Dinner with Friends, but he's just a great, great writer. So you have this great dialogue, these deep, nuanced characters to work with. It was a 4-character play, and it was one of those rare situations where the 4 of us just all really clicked on stage. and got along really, really well off stage. I mean, all three of my castmates from that show are still friends. The woman who played my girlfriend in that one, it was my character was 55 years old, and he shows up in the first act with his 25-year-old girlfriend. But she's become one of my closest friends. She's now actually working as my assistant director on Private Lives, but I directed her earlier this year in a production of Antigone. She was magnificent. She has this vulnerability that she just brings to her roles, and she, played Antigone as this kind of, woman child. She could go back and forth seamlessly between this very steely, determined, tragic heroine and this frightened adolescent, and she was beautiful. It was just a beautiful performance.
Well, actually, you did mention, might as well say, Private Lives, the Noel Coward play. Is that, he said knowingly, happening anytime soon?
That is opening on June 20th at it's being produced by the Players Theater Company and will be presented at the Owen Theater in Conroe, Texas, which is just north of Houston. So we're deep into rehearsals for that. I've got a terrific cast, and I think that's going to be it's one of the wittiest plays ever written in the English language, and I think it's going to be a very entertaining evening in the theater.
Now, it seems like you're not one of those directors who has to put like this special spin, Randy Packer stamp on things, where you seem to be more of a director who would be like, here's a great play, let the words speak for themselves, let the playwright have it. Where are you on that line of showing your hand as a director or just standing back?
I think that when you're doing naturalistic plays, the best direction is invisible. The director's job, as I see it, is to kind of serve as a unifying force. You have theater is unlike cinema, which is much more of a director's medium. Theater, I think, is very much a collaborative art form. So I like to give my actors a lot of space to create. I just want to make sure that their performances and the production elements, the set, the lighting, the costumes are all working toward the same end. I think it's maybe because my background is as an actor. What I tend to like about plays are the characters, and I want things to be character driven. So I do take a fairly light touch as the director. There are times when I think a heavier concept may be called for. If I was directing Shakespeare, Shakespeare is so really malleable now, because his plays are all 400 years old. Many of them still speak to us, but I don't have a problem with modernizing, because there's a terrific production of Twelfth Night a couple of weeks ago that was set in the 1970s and really emphasized the sort of the queer romantic and sexual aspects of the play, and it was terrific. It was just a really good production. But directorial concepts can be very heavy-handed too. I think that you need to respect the text and remember that you are directing someone else's play. It's yes, it's your production, but it's not your play. You need to respect what the author did.
Now, you had mentioned before we got on the air that sometime, I think in August, you'll be directing your first musical, and right. What else could it possibly be but
Fiddler on the Roof? Yes.
Fiddler on the Roof. Are you afraid? Not afraid, but are you daunted by tackling a musical with not just actors, but an orchestra, score, and all of that?
I'm not, because I have an excellent musical director and an excellent choreographer. So I'm trusting them to handle that. And I know how to work with actors. I'll be doing some of the musical staging. The choreographer will be doing the large dance numbers, but there are a lot of smaller musical numbers in that don't really call for dance. So I'll be staging those. No, I'm not intimidated by it. I'm developing a pretty clear concept for the production. which again it's going to be fairly straightforward. I have an idea for the one thing that's always bothered me about Fiddler on the Roof. I think it's an almost perfect musical. I love the show. One thing that's bothered me
is it too Jewish? I'm always worried about that.
Just a little. No, actually, one of the things I love about it is that it really is universal. It's set. Yes, obviously the main characters are Jewish, but I think the themes are universal. I think everybody can relate to this concept of cultural traditions and the conflict that might arise between modernity and custom. Faith.
Yeah. So what irks or what have you found?
So the thing that's always bothered me just as a director is the beginning of the show where Tevye comes out, breaks the fourth wall, addresses the audience, because inevitably, it takes Tevye out of the scene. He becomes kind of the master of ceremonies. And I think that it actually puts, even though it's entertaining, I think it puts emotional distance between the stage and the audience because it invites the audience to just sit back and watch instead of engaging. So I have an idea. I don't want to give away too much, but I have an idea for changing the beginning of the play, not the substance of it, but the presentation of it, that I think will keep Tevye in the scene. And then at the end of the play, I'm going to come back to that opening device that I think is going to add another layer of meaning and complexity to the play.
Does he ever break? Because I know he talks to God at various points and he debates with himself. But is that the only time I'm trying to remember that he breaks the fourth wall?
I believe so. I believe so.
Yeah.
So I started out thinking this through as a way to address that because that's always bothered me. And then it occurred to me that the device that I'm developing to address that is something that I can bring back at the end of the show. And I think it won't change the ending per se, but I think that we can add some additional meaning to it.
Yeah, I mean, they did, I think, a somewhat unnecessary thing a few years ago when Danny Burston was doing Fiddler on Broadway, and they had a framing device where he's a modern person, and he opens up a book and he puts on Tevye's cloak. And I didn't understand. It didn't hurt the show, but I also didn't really get. So they say, okay, it's modern times, but it's just like 100 and something years ago. Right. I don't know. I assume you have something else in mind. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can talk a little bit about it. My idea is that instead of the lights coming up on the fiddler on the roof and Tevye addressing the audience, lights are going to come up on the abandoned Jewish section of Anatevka about 15 years after the end of the play. And Tevye and a teenager will enter from the back of the house. Because of the licensing agreement, I can't add any additional dialogue, so the audience won't hear anything. But the two of them, through their acting, will establish that it's Tevye and his grandchild who will try to drop some Easter eggs, to suggest that the child is, maybe that's the wrong metaphor for the show, but
Passover eggs. Yeah. Passover baked seed.
We'll hide the afikomen. That the teenager who's with him is the baby who was in Seidel's arms at the end of the play.
Of course. Wow. Seidel, don't forget the baby. Yeah, right. Yeah.
So they come up to the stage. Tevye's looking around. They come to Tevye's old house, and he walks in. The fiddler then appears on the roof and starts to play his theme. And this draws Tevye back out, and he looks up and he gives his first line, "A fiddler on the roof." He realizes this sounds just batshit insane to his grandson. So he turns around and delivers the rest of the monologue to the grandson. And then when he gets to tradition, there's a change in the lighting. Maybe he takes off his coat or something. And the memories flood in and the past becomes present. And then as I was thinking that through, I was like, all right, so how do you kind of close the circle at the end?
Maybe just everybody leaves the stage and you have the stage empty for about 30 seconds. I mean, it will kill the applause, but it would be a moment.
Sorry, my dog just started barking. Sorry. Well, I think what I'm going to do at the end is, you've got the exodus where everyone's leaving Anatevka. So typically you have the villagers, moving around the stage in a circle and gradually peeling off. So at some point while that's going on, we'll have the the grandchild come back to the same spot where he was sitting in tradition. And when Tevye and his family are the only ones left, the fiddler also appears. He plays his theme, which draws Tevye back. So Tevye comes back, looks at the fiddler like he always does, gestures for him to jump on his cart. And then he turns back, then we'll do a lighting change again and bring it back to where it was at the beginning before tradition started. And he sees the grandson again. So now we're sort of in this twilight zone between past and present. And the grandson runs and hugs his grandfather, and the two of them walk to the cart together. And instead of Tevye just picking up the cart and walking off with the fiddler riding on the back, Tevye and his grandson now pick up the cart and walk it off, signifying that these traditions are passed on. Because I'm Jewish, I'm completely non-religious. But one of the things that I love about doing a Seder or lighting Hanukkah candles with my kids is this almost mystical experience of participating in a ritual that, my 5 times great grandparents did 300 years ago and half a world away.
Yeah.
And you're connecting with your ancestors in Russia, from Texas. And so I love the idea of giving this sense of, these traditions, moving on from one generation to the next, and binding them together, even if they're in a different part of the world, even if their lives are completely different, that there's still this connection.
Wow. I almost wish Rabbi Sol Solomon were doing this interview instead of me. I don't know if you know who that is, but he's very Jewish. And then sometimes comes on my show. We're talking, by the way, to Randy Packer. Make sure you do go see Private Lives at the Players Theater. Is it in Houston or Conroe? Where's the...
It's in Conroe, which is about 30 miles north of downtown Houston.
30 miles north of downtown. And it's running from mid-June?
June 20th to July 6th.
Get your tickets, everybody. Have a couple more questions, though, for Randy Packer, my old alumnus from both high school and, as he reminded me, for a brief period, college. What are your memories? Were you born on Long Island? Did you grow up in Hewlett?
Yes, I was born, in a hospital in Far Rockaway, but my parents moved into their house in Hewlett in the 50s, and they lived there into the 90s. So I lived in the same house growing up. From birth until I left for college.
So what are your memories? I mean, everybody makes fun of Long Island, and it's the place you get away from, and it's nicely close to New York. I mean, positive, negative, what are your overall nostalgia, if you will, for Hewlett, Long Island?
It's funny. When I was 18, I couldn't wait to get out of there. And I don't know that I would want to live there again necessarily, because I really like cities. I'm not even crazy about the suburb where I live now. And nothing against it. It was a great place to raise kids. But I think if I was planning to retire here in the Houston area, we'd probably move into the city. But when I go back to visit now, it's really nice. It's a lot nicer than I remember. It was a good place to grow up. It was safe. We had a lot of freedom as kids. It was also a different era. I think parents are more paranoid now. But it was the kind of place where you could, when you were a kid on, a weekend or a summer day, you could go out after breakfast and, your mom would just say, be home in time for dinner. And you wouldn't see them all day. They wouldn't see you all day. And you'd just be out playing with your friends. And that was nice. It's the kind of thing that just doesn't seem to happen anymore. Everything for kids is so structured now. And, with 24-hour, cable news, frantically reporting on every child who goes missing, it creates the impression that the world is an incredibly dangerous place, even though statistically it's safer now than it was when we were growing up. So it was. And
the kids aren't even going out. They don't want to go out. The parents say, "Let's see you in 8 hours," and the kid's still in the room going like swipe, swipe, type.
Yeah.
But what do you have memories of specifically Hewlett High School? Were you at the junior high? Were you in junior high South also?
No, I went to junior high North.
North, okay.
I lived in the neighborhood kind of behind junior high North. Not directly behind, but we were off of Mill Road. So it was like a 10, 15-minute walk from my house to Junior High North. But, my memories of high school, I was not the most motivated student. I attended classes when I had to. I loved theater. I didn't love anything else about high school. Now, I went to college and I did really well academically, but I was a mediocre student in high school just because I wasn't interested. But theater was great.
Why then, if you went to NYU for acting and you were a big theater, why did you leave after a year and a half? Why didn't you just stick out the degree?
Because I was young and impatient and probably a little arrogant. Looking back on it, yes, I wish I had been a little more humble and realized that I had a lot to learn. I wouldn't say that I have regrets because you never know how your life would have turned out differently. Had I stayed that path, I might never have met my wife, who is waving from off camera here.
Hello, wife. What's her name?
Her name is Wendy, and Dave is waving to you.
Hello, Wendy, wife. How you doing? So how did you meet Wendy, wife?
We met when I was in law school at NYU, and she was in grad school at Columbia. We were both in the city. It was my third year of law school and her first year of grad school. And we met, and then I left New York to clerk for a federal judge in Michigan for 2 years. So we had a long-distance relationship for a couple of years. And then we're back in the same place and got married, and we've been married now for 28 and a half years. Almost 20, close to 29. I'll be 29 in October. It's one of those things. If I had stayed the course, maybe I would have had a better career in the theater, although maybe not. I mean, I worked with a lot of very, very talented people over the years, and I can probably count on one hand the number of them who are still in the business, just because it's such a tough way to make a living.
Have you ever worked with anyone famous? Have you directed or acted with anyone that we would all know, perhaps?
Probably not. I think probably the most successful person I ever directed was Jordan Lage, who is...
Atlantic Theater Company guy.
Yeah, Jordan was one of the founding members of Atlantic Theater. I directed him in a production of Incident at Vichy by Arthur Miller. He was wonderful. Actually, Rob Ostrovsky was in that as well. Jordan was great. And, he's done a lot with Atlantic. He's been on Broadway in some... I know he was in a production of Our Town on Broadway 15, 20 years ago. And it's probably been there other times. And I've seen him from time to time on TV shows. So he's probably the most successful person. I don't know how famous he is.
In New York theater, in New York circles, people wouldn't know his name. Famous, not really. But you mentioned Rob Ostrovsky. How often are you in touch? Well, I mean, I see him on Facebook, but how?
Yeah, that's it. I've been in touch with Rob since I left NYU. Right. You mentioned Facebook. It's funny. I really didn't, other than Macy Levin, our drama teacher in high school, who is a good friend. I haven't really stayed in touch with anyone from high school until Facebook popped up 20, 25 years ago. Then I just became Facebook friends with a lot of people. And, even people who I wasn't all that friendly with in high school, it seems like everyone has turned out to be a pretty nice person. And it's kind of nice to, even if it's just exchanging birthday wishes every year, it's just nice to...
Exactly. I mean, I'm not friends with my old bullies, but pretty much everyone else, I'm perfectly... The girls who rejected me, it's fine. I'm glad you're married. I probably dodged a bullet with you because I've got a wonderful wife, so it's all good, Still staying in touch. So, what... you're a daddy. If you at your age... Or back then, when I knew you, back in high school, could give your kids, and I mean, what advice do you give your kids? This is a stupid way of phrasing that question, but, how do you raise kids in this world?
I've tried to give my kids a lot of room to be themselves and to pursue their own interests. I've leaned on them to try to always put in their best effort, whether in school or anything else. But, I never said you have to be a doctor, you have to be a lawyer, although my son now is planning on going to medical school, but maybe that's in spite of me. But, he's like, Dad, you're such a hippy dippy freak. I'm just going to, I'm not really, but
No, I'm
going to be boring and go to medical school. He's a great kid, and I have a lot of fun with him. We have actually have very similar tastes in music, and we like a lot of the same things. But I've really just tried to say, pursue, find out what you love to do, pursue it. But if it's not something that you can support yourself doing, then be realistic. Excuse me.
You are Jewish. Not jump wholeheartedly and go with your heart. Life will take care of you. No, it's like, yes, have your dreams, but be realistic.
Well, I mean, you do. You have to. I learned from my own experience. I got tired of living in roach-infested apartments, when it was all I could afford as a struggling actor in Chicago. And I don't want, there's nothing wrong with going through that for a few years when you're young. But, nobody wants to spend their lives living like that. And as it turns out, my kids really, they like music, they like theater, but they've never pursued it seriously. My daughter just got her master's in psychology, and she's hoping to pursue a PhD. She's taken a little time off to work and do other things, but she's hoping to get into a PhD program. My son, as I mentioned, is thinking about medical school. But my son is also a baseball player, and he's pretty good. I mean, but he's not, he's not going to play in the major leagues. But that was something that he's really wanted to pursue through college, despite some injuries that have, sidetracked him. He had shoulder surgery when he was in high school. And it's something that I've encouraged him to pursue because it's what he loves to do. And I just, I want him to play at the highest level that he can, because I don't want him to spend the rest of his life wondering what would have happened if he had pursued it. I don't have any regrets, or any major regrets anyway, about the way I've lived my life. I gave it a shot in my 20s. When I walked away, it was because I chose to walk away. It wasn't because, my parents said, we're not sending you to college for theater, go be an accountant.
That's probably what my parents should have said. We're not sending you to college for that. Being an accountant, you want to do theater, do it on your own time. I'd be in a lot better shape, let me tell you. By the way, we've been talking with Randy Packer here. Everybody, if you're in Texas or near Texas or can helicopter into Texas, remember that from June 20th through, July
6th.
July 6th, Players Theater out in Conroe, Texas. They are doing Noel Coward's Private Lives, directed by this man, for whom I have one last question. In a couple of years, he'll be empty nesting and so forth, and might move to the city part of Houston. But do you have a bucket list thing, like something that you really think you will do in the next 10, 20 years?
I don't know about a bucket list, but my wife and I enjoy traveling, and so we'll probably do some of that. I hope to continue pursuing theater. It's funny. I think I'm a better actor now than I was when I was in my 20s, not only because of the life experience, but because I'm just as passionate about it. It's not as integral a part of my sense of my own identity, if that makes sense. So it makes it easier or maybe easier isn't the right word, but more possible to just take risks with my acting. Because if I do something, if I make a bold choice and it falls flat, that's too bad, but it doesn't chip away at my sense of myself the way it would have 40 years ago. So I've really enjoyed acting. I think I've done some of my best work in the last year and a half. So I hope to continue pursuing that and directing. It's just been wonderful having these creative opportunities over the last couple of years. It's something that I guess I had really kept bottled up for a long time. And now I'm probably, to some extent, making up for lost time. Probably should take a break. I've been going nonstop for a year and a half, but keep popping
Take a
up.
2-week break, and then you'll get a script, and then you'll get an opportunity. Something, the phone will ring, and you'll be like,
that's exactly
yes,
it, you
yes,
know.
have to do this.
Right. As Warren Zevon said, right, I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Well, we love you alive and awake. Randy Packer, so good to catch up with you after all these decades. Please do not be a stranger. Please cast me in something, because I'm still brilliant.
And come to Texas.
Yeah, or come to Maryland, say hi. But mazel tov to your kids, mazel tov to your wonderful Wendy wife, and to you, much, much success acting and directing and in all your endeavors. Great to see you, Randy Packer.
Great to see you too, Dave. Thank you.
Thanks so much, man. Bye-bye. Randy Packer in the Daverhood here on Dave's Gone By. We are live again on this Saturday, June 14th, 2025, with our 987th episode of the show. We're calling it Packer of the Lead. Get it? And very, very happy to have you with us because we have so much more show for you. We've got our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. We're going to be doing story time with Alien Tomato. Ooh. And what else we going? Rabbi Sol Solomon will be bidding farewell to Sly Stone and Brian Wilson. So we have all that coming up, as well as one of our benchmark, is that the word? Maybe. One of our benchmark segments here in the Daverhood, which is called Greeley Times. It has to do with phone calls that come into the police department in Greeley and Evans, Colorado. The Greeley, wow, whoa, look at that. I gotta turn this out this way, because all you're seeing is like these, wow, it's worse.
Sunburn.
Whee! Okay. We'll just do without that light for a while. But let me turn this off. So, the Greeley Tribune newspaper every week puts the funniest calls, the information from the funniest call. Oh, already it's ringing. Oh my God. That into the paper in a column once a week called Cop Log that is put together by someone named Chris Bolin. We thank them for that, and then we grab those and share them with you here on Dave's Gone. Oh, the chicken's coming. Oh, no, the sloth is coming. All right, I'm going to try and grab you do one.
No, you.
All right, hold on. Here's a sloth. We're going to see if he sticks to the wall. Ah, that hurt my arm. Okay, great. Here we go. But he sticks. See him? See him, slothy?
Yeah.
This one's got no ugh, so he's not going to happen, but let's try it. No, that's... Oh, well. So, okay. That one stuck to the carpet. Here we go. This one might be good. Here we go. Slothy. Oh, he's pretty up high, I think. Yeah, can't even see him on the screen.
You get the ones you said that are on book, right?
Well, let's see. This one might or might not. He might be all right. Yeah! Here we go. This one's also kind of sticky.
Oh, this one's good too.
All right. Here, why don't you do... Oh, whoa! Whoa!
Oh, try that again. Look at that.
All right, let's see if I can hit...
How did you do that?
I have no idea. Oh!
Wow.
And you thought this was going to be a bad week, ladies and gentlemen. You thought the world was... Look what we can do with sloths. This one... he's got some. He might stay. I'm going to try... Oh.
In case you want to shoot the
He's sticking to my notes. All right, here we go.
Whoa! That's beautiful.
Bravo. Thank you.
What I want to do is get this, because before we do the calling, here's the call.
All right. Oh, we have a chicken. In case we have a chicken alert. I'm not sure. There's another chicken. Oh, the chickens are flying. Oh, dear. Oh, okay. Got him. The chicken. One more. Oh, no. Wait, hey. Yeah, try getting them into the computer there. Whee! You saw them. Yeah, oh, beautiful. Oh, no flying chickens. The chickens are flying. Whoa!
Here, take the candle phone. Just don't stick it in your ear.
What? Okay, here we go. I'll use this when I want to wax poetic. But I'm trying to keep things light. Anyway, Greeley Times, ladies and gentlemen, here...
I'm looking up the yard sale locations, because I don't know if they're real. I got it from a site.
Well, why wouldn't they be real?
I don't know, because it's like,
Well, it also may be weather permitting. I mean, it's almost raining.
There's a few places that do estate sales, like
Yeah, I love it. I love
No,
those.
I think we have to follow them, and then they'll tell you when the next one is. That's what I think you need to do.
Well, anyway, here's our first call. I'm going to pick it up from the rabbit phone.
Oh.
And this happened just a couple of weeks ago. For real, police recalled a caller at a gas station on 10th Street said that a man was aimlessly wandering around the gas station parking lot. When the caller asked him if he was... Why are you ringing still? I got the phone. When the caller asked him if he was up to anything suspicious, the man replied, "Not really." Which is a rather beautiful thing to say. Is it like, are you going to be doing anything horrible? Commit any crimes, murders?
Whoa.
Not really. Oh, what happened? Look at him! Look at him!
Oh, that's not good. They're trying to... Oh, whoa! Maybe it's the weather, the humidity. Oh.
Wow, they're moving. They're rolling. Wow, there's some sloth action
I'm afraid
here.
That one who's hanging face up is going to fall. Look, he's hanging on by a foot. He's only got one foot, and his hand's holding the other one.
Wow, this is exciting stuff, ladies and gentlemen. My good.
Whoa!
Some people watch the Olympics. Who needs it? Sloth racing.
I agree.
Sloth racing down the wall. Anywho, we're doing Greeley Times, ladies and gentlemen. Waiting for our next phone call to the Greeley. Oh, there it is. I got the poo phone. A caller on 35th Avenue said that a vehicle was parked outside and had been running for 5 hours.
Wow.
Officers contacted two men in the truck, both of whom lived at the address. The wife of one of them had kicked him out for the night.
Oh, is this the Odd Couple?
And I was like,
That's the theme of the Odd Couple.
that request came from his wife, with no place else to go, Felix Unger. But it could be he and Oscar. Oh, they're rolling. Look at that.
Look at that. But they're going together.
Look, they're doing the horror.
But they didn't fall. I'm just afraid the one would fall. He didn't seem very
Well,
secure.
they're supposed to sort of like flip over and
No, I know, but he
grab the
was
wall.
hanging on by
There he
one
goes.
foot. Whoa,
Yeah.
David, look at what did you do?
I got some sloth action
Did you
today.
use some caffeine?
Oh, maybe it could have been. Whoa!
Whoa!
Yeah!
But the one on the top didn't move at all. Everybody else moved.
He might be the newest or the stickiest, whatever. I threw him the hardest because if all four don't stick evenly, they start
Look at the
to.
one he's got his hands are hanging off the top one. See?
Yeah. Let me see.
Yeah.
Whoa! Oh, yeah. Oh, but his legs are stuck.
Look at the one with his butt sticking out.
Well,
He's got his tushy out. He's like this.
Oh, yeah. You're watching Dave's Gone By. It's 11 o'clock, by the way, and we're doing Greeley Times. He just moved. Here we go. A caller on 13th
Where's your phone?
Avenue, the avenue of number 13. Oh, that's right. I need to get the... What is this thing?
Want to use the pig phone?
I'll get the pig phone ready for the next call. But I got someone on the line here. Hello? Oh,
Here.
there we go. Hello?
Use the door phone.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay. Where are you? 13th Avenue, reported a bunch of kids driving around really fast, throwing Orbeez at each other.
What's that?
Orbeez are balls that expand when put in water. Mine just float upward,
How
but...
would you know that? If you see people throwing something, that's pretty specific. That's weird.
Is it? Well,
How do you know what it is? If you see people throwing stuff at each other, you won't know what it is.
I'm sure in a couple of weeks they'll be throwing Labubu's at each other, whatever those things are called.
There's a lot of fake Labubus.
Are there really a lot of fake
Yeah,
Labubus?
a lot of, yeah.
I
don't like them, though.
Well, the big ones are Honey Labubus.
I don't like the boo-boos.
Well, then we don't have to. We're of the age where Labubu should not be appealing to us in any shape, fashion, or form. Anyway, you're watching Dave's Gone By. It's 11 o'clock. We're doing Cop Log, which is phone calls that come into the Greeley Police Department in northern Colorado. Oh, wait. I think we have a... Aha! Oh, I got the chicken stereo phone. Look at that. A caller at an unknown address said, oh dear, he was the victim of a scam. The scammer... Yeah, The scammer pretended to be with Xfinity Security, but instead put porn on his computer. So yeah, officer...
Look what happened to this. Look at the one, the loose one fell too.
They're like the Walendas. They're pretty.
I've never seen them so active.
So officer, if my wife asks, this scammer put. Oh my God.
Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, that's what he's telling the officers. Oh, another sloth movement there.
Why is the top one? Whoa!
Oh, this next call comes from the sloth phone. Hold on. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Wait.
Oh, the sloth phone had been ringing, and the sloth told me that a caller at a grocery store on 35th Avenue saw a man swinging a stick around in the parking lot. The caller said the man, quote, possibly looks like he wants to hit someone with it, unquote.
That's a good.
If you're swinging a stick around in a parking lot,
maybe he's doing some martial arts.
Yeah, what is that? Taibo?
Yeah.
Oh,
I've never seen them so active.
look how fantastic that is. And they're like, look at the beauty.
I mean, they're doing some sort of like, it's like what's that guy who does the guy who does all the blown glass?
Oh, God.
I'm gonna.
Chihuly.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. They're doing some kind of.
Or to me, it's like Esther Williams. It's got this beautiful.
They're really, but the top one didn't really move much. Everybody else.
Well, he'll take his time.
And there's one on the floor.
I know that. Yeah, no, he didn't quite make it. We have another call. I think
sorry.
another call.
Wait.
I'll get it on the pig phone.
Wait a second.
Wow. Okay. All right. A caller on 21st Street said a neighbor had a visitor that came outside and started peeing in the street. Honestly, I wish more guests were considerate of guest bathroom cleanliness.
Yes.
It's like, don't do it. I'm like, go in the street. I just cleaned the bathroom.
Look.
Oh, wow, they're kind of.
They've never been this active. Maybe because they're in the container, they get.
Maybe.
Maybe we make it like a P Diddy party. We put some oil
Let's
on
not
them.
make it a P. Diddy party. Let's not.
Look at the one now. He's got a tummy out. The one with the bad arms.
Oh,
They look so cute.
they're rolling. They're moving.
For sloths, they're pretty fast.
They're sloths. The whole point of a sloth is like.
Only the top one is slow. Everybody else seems to be moving.
Yeah.
Whoa, the other guy just shuffled a little left or right.
They're doing sloth aerobics. Yeah. Oh, a call. I got the door phone. Here we go. A caller at a park on 13th Avenue said a man driving a red SUV with a flat tire and a hole in the windshield flipped him off as he drove by. It's like, you look like you have a better life than I do. It's like, yes.
Well, look at the middle sloth.
Oh, where did he go? Oh, there he is.
See with his tummy out like he's up.
Oh!
Wow, David, what did you must have got
Oh my God, they're just going crazy.
Well, look at it. I wonder if he's going to fall. Look at him. See his tummy?
No, he's...
Oh!
Bravo. Oh, a call. I'll get the other rabbit phone. A caller.
Honey, I think it's the frog phone.
Oh, this was actually. Oh.
That'll go nice with your shirt.
He's
Goes
so
well with your
cute.
shirt. Whoa.
Oh, still moving there. Here's frog phone. Hello. Ribbit. But yeah.
Oh, he fell again. Wow.
Look at them. A caller. A man at the Greeley Police Department had fishing poles and shoes he wanted to drop off to say thank you.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, fishing poles, I get it. There's like a retiring cop. Yeah. Why not give? But shoes, like, why would you be giving away?
Maybe you get, because you're on the beach so much, you get bunions and like your bad feet. Maybe he's giving them fancy orthopedic shoes or something.
That's. I didn't think of that. I did not.
Shoes that would help their health-based shoes.
I get it. And I'm trying to think of a shoe pun, and I can't, and that's killing me. Hold on.
You have no soul.
Thank you very much. I should get a tongue lashing for that.
You're too tight laced, all that. Yeah.
Very good.
David, don't be a heel.
Well, the good cops should get these things, not the ones who just sit around and are loafers.
Oh, that's cute.
Thank you very much.
That's a good one.
Okay, I got one more, and then we have an elsewhere. So
wow, okay.
Here we go. Oh, this is one of those from an unknown address. I better take it on the bell phone. It's a bell
Don't put
telephone.
that in your ear, though.
Oh, I'm not going to ding it. A caller at an unknown address said a woman walked up to him in the parking lot saying she needed help and she tried to get in his car. She originally told him she was 12 years old, but when questioned, admitted she was 26. And then she asked him for a cigarette.
I love it.
You think this girl is trouble, guys?
Now they're married.
No, do you think she's worth the blowjob you just might get for the cigarette? No.
She thinks she's 12. How do you say you're 12? That's like, remember we saw that where it was the girl, she was like short-statured, and her parents said she was really in her 20s and she was really a kid.
Oh, yeah.
And they gave her like her own place to live and she was just a young girl like that. So
I
don't understand a lot of this stuff. It's kind of weird.
It's called because these people are nuts.
Oh, yeah.
That may be a reason that they're nuts.
Probably true, so yeah.
Let's get, one more and then we'll go elsewhere. Back to the poof.
I have a different bell for elsewhere, okay?
Oh, okay, great. So this is, back to the poof phone. A caller on 4th Street found a squirrel caught in a trap that he set, so he wanted to talk to animal control. It's like...
Don't you think you should have done that when you put out the trap?
Yeah, it's
what
like...
do you think's going to happen? Like...
Well, first of all, I would not want to be the one opening the trap to let the squirrel out.
A friend of ours would trap cats and stuff, and then give them to the cat
Yeah,
rescue.
yeah.
But you got to plan that ahead. You don't just have the cat in the cage and go, now what do I do? You
Right,
gotta have
yeah,
a plan,
yeah.
for goodness sake.
Oh, anyway, by the way, the sloths are like, look at them, they're all the way. That's fabulous. We have, however, one of the things that we do on this program is, or on this segment, Coplog, Greeley Times, is elsewhere. So we move away from Greeley and Evans and northern Colorado, and we can get this weird, ridiculous story from anywhere else in the world. We're not going that far. We're going to Purdue University in Indiana.
You have a different bell?
That's a good bell. That is a good bell.
It's a long distance bell.
Now, I have a backstory for this. So about a week or two ago, my wife and I were watching this dating show about people with autism. That's great.
Both of the things dropped.
And one of the lucky guys who actually found a nice person and dated that was good. But they're on the spectrum in some way. And this was a guy who could only relax by doing a Rubik's Cube, and he could. You remember him.
Crazy, right? Yeah.
He could do the Rubik's Cube in like less than 2 minutes.
It's amazing.
You could put me in a room for 48 hours. I could not get even one side. No, I would be the only way I could peel the colors off the cube and just stick them. That would be I would still get it wrong. Okay, he could do a Rubik's Cube, but he also had incredible social anxiety and problems in that. Well, this is just the setup to say a team.
Yeah.
You wonder why Trump is cutting off funding to universities. A team of Purdue University students have now built a robot that can solve a Rubik's Cube.
Oh.
And it does it. How long do you think it takes?
1 second.
1/10 of a second.
How does it do? Oh, because it's fast. Yeah.
By the way, that breaks the current robot record of 0.3 of a second.
I think these kids need to get out a little more. Go to the mall.
Yeah.
Go to the mall. See a movie. Date a girl or boy. Or
These are the guys who need to be in cars with 26-year-old women approaching them saying she's 12 and wants a cigarette. They could use her. 4 undergraduate students at Purdue's Elmore Family School of Electrical and Computer Engineering in West Lafayette, Indiana, met through a co-op program at the school. Since they obviously weren't getting laid, they teamed up to design a puzzle-solving bot
Good for them.
that they called, I love this, Purdue's Cube.
Oh, that's so cute.
Now, if you want to do some Googling, Go find this Purdue Rubik's Cube.
Purdue Rubik's Cube machine.
And you can get the video on that.
Oh, God. Yeah, let's see. Oh.
Said one of the investors, quote, "We solve in 103 milliseconds. A human blink takes more than 200 milliseconds. Before you even realize the cube is moving, we have solved it."
Wait a second.
It is really extra. I mean, we can kind of show on the phone. Don't blink. If you blink, you will miss this.
Be careful because it jumps the thing.
Yeah. This is amazing. It really is. Here's a Rubik's Cube. Watch. This is a human doing it, obviously.
That's the professor talking. "I'm so happy. I'm finally tenured because I made this robot with my students. Hey, students, how are you doing? Well, I get an A. Is there extra credit? Where's my...
Watch this. Watch this. Did you miss it?
Yeah, that was it?
That was it.
Wow.
It's solved. They're gonna show it again one more time, I think.
Good.
I hope they're gonna show them. It's extraordinary. I mean,
I worked on it too, yeah.
gotta love these kids. Gotta love the fact that they're doing it. And then gotta wonder, like, okay, so cancer is still unsolved. COVID is still unsolved. Here, watch this. Okay.
Wow.
Huh?
It's amazing. People are very smart. I used to like those robotics wars when they had the different robots compare and fight and stuff.
Yeah, they're still, I'm sure, doing that, but on such a level. And at a certain point, then we're going to invent the robots to the point where they're going to control us and make humans do things faster and better.
Down so you could see it. That's good.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. Amazing. By God, we can't do anything about war or racism or the common cold, but this generation is doing its part for dialing little squares into place quickly. Amazing.
There must be some application of it.
Well, think about it. If you want to build a house 50 years from now.
They're very happy, the Guinness World Record. They look so happy.
Well,
God bless them.
They're sweet undergraduate. When I was an undergraduate, I couldn't draw a flower.
Well, that's you, honey. You're special. You're just special.
I am special.
In a good way.
I'm special. I gotta have some medical attention. Give it to me.
What is a Aurora Borealis geomagnetic storm?
I don't know. What is an Aurora Borealis geomagnetic storm?
Visible this weekend.
Ooh.
I gotta tell my friend. It's gonna look like you're gonna see the Northern Lights.
Really? Oh, no.
I can't.
Yeah, I got it. Look at that. Look. Oh, no, it's just... Every time I touch the phone, something happens to it.
Okay, let's see. I'm going to give this in here. Where can we see the Northern Lights this weekend in Maryland?
Well, here's one.
Sunday night. Here, honey, no, here.
There we go. Okay.
Just hold it like a pancake.
There we go. The Northern Lights could be visible Sunday night from Maryland. Here.
Give it to me.
I can't. Hey, it would actually be pretty cool, honestly. Always want it to be in Russia or Sweden or somewhere where they can see these things. An unusually strong geomagnetic storm will impact Earth early in the work week. Oh, so might not be today.
Sunday for us.
Oh, maybe. The Northern Lights may be seen unusually far south. Expected to peak Sunday night into Monday morning. G4 level conditions will reach Saturday night. We haven't hit Saturday night yet. What? When was this?
Is that an old one here?
Oh, this was June 1st. I think we missed it last week.
Oh, poopers.
Maybe. Yeah, no, 2 weeks ago.
We missed everything.
Oh, well. On a sunny day, look up.
It says 1 day ago.
I don't understand it. Maybe we're seeing another Northern Light thing. Is Aurora Borealis like once a year, or is it around for a bit?
We'll see it tonight.
Oh, cool. Do we have I can't think of the word. Not a terrarium.
Planetarium?
A planetarium anywhere.
Does Maryland have a planetarium? Maryland Science Center has several. It has Maryland Science Center, Banneker Planetarium in Cantonsville, Towson University Planetarium, and St. John's College Planetarium.
How do we not know?
I don't know.
My God.
It's digital, that's why. I'll show you here.
Wait. So it's only online? Is it planetarium? Okay. How do we go?
Yeah, planetarium, all digital system that allows you to observe the sky at any moment.
What? They have a window at least?
No, it's just like, go in and they project it.
It's like the real. But they don't have like a telescope pointing. No.
It's closed for summer.
Okay. Oh well. The sky shuts down at the university for 3 months. I guess I don't have any astronomy courses during the summertime. Anyway, that was our elsewhere thing about the wonderful folks doing a Rubik's Cube in 10 milliseconds, or was it 1/10 of a second? A tenth a second. I don't know the word. Out in Purdue University in Indiana. Well, let's go back and do one or two more Greeley times here in the Daverhood on Dave's Gone By. These are calls that came into the police department. Here's one. Wait, no, that's an elsewhere bell.
No, this is the elsewhere
bell. Oh, that's the elsewhere bell. That's the real bell. Okay. Aha. I have the sling phone. Here it is. A caller on 7th Avenue said that two women, one all in black, the other in pajamas, were putting things on the railroad tracks. Caller wasn't sure what the objects were, but was concerned about a possible train derailment. He also volunteers to give the women a full cavity search, but we won't talk about that. But anywho, yeah. If you're putting,
that's a good citizen. Whoa, honey,
whoa,
look, one fell to the floor.
Has that one moved? The top one moved?
The top one has not moved. He's probably the newest. I think he's the newest. He's the most sloth-like, yeah.
Go sloth, Seth.
Go slothy. It's your birthday.
It's your birthday.
Party like it's your birthday.
Oh, I'm getting a sense that the candle phone might ring. How did I know? Hello? A caller at a convenience store on 9th Street said that two people got aggressive and started punching the building. As they left, one said he was going to come back and steal from the store. And if that didn't work, he said he was going to come back and strangle the building too.
Wow.
So, yeah, boy, you get
what
mad
did the
people.
building do to him?
I know, right?
I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't want to cast aspersions, but I've heard that the component of the building was a bit of a brick.
Oh.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
If you're happy, I'm happy.
All right, one more. We have one more call in our Greeley Times segment for this Saturday, June 14th, 2025. I'm going to take the cup phone on this one. I know it's for me. A caller on 21st Avenue said that a neighbor was placing her clothes all around his car. She then put her underwear on the hood and weighed them down with a rock.
I mean, I know laundromats are expensive, but that just seems...
It's true. And now I've got to think of a car pun or an underwear pun. No. A car bra raider?
It would be...
Maybe it got the man horny to see her underwear.
She had a lot going on under her hood.
Oh, that's good. I'll take that one. And that, my friends, is Greeley Times here on Dave's Gone By. We've got more show for you, but let's come out of Greeley Times.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool.
Oh, no, he was not.
I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool.
Yippee-yi!
Yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi-yi-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi.
Here we're watching the Dave's Gone By Facebook, your podcast, your program, your the stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable and wonderful wife, with us here in the Daverhood. We've got our Colorado Limerick of the Damned coming up. We also have, what else do we have? Whoa, Rabbi Sol Solomon with his rabbinical reflection on music today. But before we get to that, we do have, as promised, and in honor of our beloved potatoes, how do I turn this on? Here we go. Our story time. We have a story to tell you. Is there a potato here? I don't think there is, but that's okay, because they're watching at home, and they won't, be annoying and get involved as we read this book. I didn't write the book. This is a book by Kristen Schroeder, illustrated by Mette Engel, and it features these guys. It is, of course, Alien Tomato. Alien Tomato. And certainly perfect timing to be talking about aliens in our culture. Let's see how this book, which was written back in 2020, only 4 years ago, basically during the pandemic. Look at this. Oh, tomatoes are going to love this. Look at that adorable.
Oh, whoa.
So cute. So lovely. Here we go. But for Rob, Skylar, and Luca, who lives on the second floor, and to my children, Sidzil Emily, Gabriel, and Rumley Michael. So these are the authors and the illustrator dedicating Alien Tomato, and this is from Page Street Kids Books. It streaked through the sky on a perfect day in July and landed in the garden. You can see everybody, all the carrots there and the beets.
Oh, they look very happy.
And they're scared. I think as well they would.
Because it's a potato from the sky.
Yeah. And we also know ice is coming, so it's very,
scared too,
it's a little scary. Here we go. What is it? I don't know. The veggies were curious about the newcomer, as opposed to the cucumber. I've never seen anything like it. Look, there's a broccoli, or is it a sprout? I can't tell what that is.
It's a broccoli, but it looks like a bok choy.
Oh, it does.
It's a broccoli, but it looks like a bok choy.
Funny, it doesn't look choyish. And then we've got, notice, certainly my favorite thing, right there. Who doesn't love a little beaver? So
I don't think that's a...
He's got the tooth. He's got, might be a woodchuck.
Oh, you think it's like fiddlefowl?
Might be, or groundhog could be. He's like a hole in the ground, but he's got a beaver tooth. So they shared their ideas. I think it looks like a tomato. Okay. Yeah, but it's different. Maybe, says the broccoli, or broccoli kind of bok choy thing, it's an alien tomato. Ooh. And wouldn't you know,
Wait.
there's always a beaver who's around who's a know-it-all.
Alien tomato.
And the beaver says, I know what it is. Let's see if the beaver does.
I mean, it's just a tomato, for goodness sake.
Well, yeah, but it came from the sky. Where could it be from? Everyone agreed it was definitely an alien tomato. Oh, yes, an alien tomato. Of course it's an alien tomato. That's it, says the beaver.
Did you say mass hysteria?
And then, you know what this is starting to resemble? The woodchuck, the beaver, the groundhog is saying it is definitely...
Oh, the sky is falling?
Well, no, this is exactly like egg and eyeball.
Oh, everybody's like plagiarizing left and right.
It is not an alien tomato, says the beaver. But the veggies didn't know anything about alien tomatoes. Is it dangerous, says the squash? Will it zap us with lasers? Or Jewish space lasers? Don't make it angry.
You want one?
I do have the Jewish space laser. Oh, this is going to be cool. Give it a toss.
No. Which
Okay.
finger?
Put it on my finger. Here it is. Here comes the Jewish space laser. I hope they're using these in Iran, I'll tell you that. Here we go. Woo!
You should have the red one for the tomato, really.
Oh,
You
do you have it?
You want the red one?
Yeah, I'll take the red one. Put it on my other finger.
Okay, hold on. Can you turn the thing on? No, I can't.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Oh boy, ow, it's hurting. Okay, here we go. Ta-da! Ooh. Don't make it angry, says the broccoli. Don't be silly, says the beaver It's harmless. So they decided a friendly approach was best. How do you do? Says the, what is that? Asparagus, right?
No, which one?
This one.
That's an asparagus. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the other one's broccoli, but it was like bok choy. Let's say broccoli, asparagus, that's a squash, tomato, carrot, and peas, and whatever that thing is, a gopher.
There's a beet. Yeah. Oh, gopher. Gopher. Yeah.
I think it's a gopher, but it looks like that, what's that guy? The one I told you. The one you like, the Asian...
Marmot?
No, the one, he rides the death bus.
Wait. Oh, he looks like Totoro. Well,
Yes, thank you.
he has Totoro's coloring. He actually does. He has the
yes.
little
I
whisker.
think they ripped off Totoro
Good point.
as well.
They do. He does look like Totoro.
Everybody ripped off, they're ripping off so many things in there.
Well, Carrot's name is Reggie. He says, pleased to meet you. My name's Reggie. It can't hear you, says the know-it-all Totoro beaver thing. The alien tomato did not respond. It probably doesn't speak our language, says the beet. That's okay, says the squash. And then, for no particular reason, I think, who's saying that? Who is? Oh, that's okay, said the squash. And then the carrot says, let's call her Allie. I think the carrot might be, shall we say, special. Just a possibility there. And now the Totoro beaver is getting a little angry. He's getting like, it can't talk because it's just a red ball. He's getting like, this is literally like egg and eyeball.
Oh my God, David, you got to read it and compare. I think they should sue.
And
Didn't Egg and Eyeball win something? They won an award.
yeah, well, either the Newbery or the
Maybe all
Caldecott.
children's books have the same plot, and that's why children like it.
Yeah, this is literally, there's a book by C.C. Bell called Egg or Eyeball, in which a chicken and a man with a brain on top of his head fight.
Yes.
Oh, I can't believe I'm explaining this. Fight over whether this thing in the house is an egg or an eyeball.
Yes.
I'm not going to give away the ending. Anyway.
No, don't.
So all the vegetables decide to throw Allie a welcome party. And oh, look at this. My God. This Totoro beaver has to be Jewish. It's like, nobody ever held a party for me. Oh. It's interesting that the gendering here, they're calling the tomato a she. They treated her like an honored guest. They assumed the tomato was a girl. And then the beaver's like, a crown? Really? This is getting ridiculous.
I think it's a groundhog, honey. It's not a beaver.
Groundhog,
A
you're
beaver
right.
would have like water. A groundhog doesn't need it.
Beaver would have hair and kind of a bad smell. The veggies enjoyed spending time with Allie. They were all on their best behavior. The beet says, care for a spot of tea?
Ooh, it's no groundhog.
Squash says, that was the beet. The beet saying that.
Oh,
And then,
wow.
these crumpets are divine, says the
Why
squash.
Does it English?
I have
Why
no
does it
idea.
become English?
Because it's current, they're being very
Being proper.
courtly.
That's
They're
good. Okay, yeah.
only the best for our Allie, says the asparagus.
Makes no sense.
Meanwhile, look at this.
Oh, he's mad.
Yeah. This is the look every husband sees, several times a year that he never ever wants to see. Beaver saying, enough is enough. Well, not beaver, groundhog, woodchuck. But then, strange things happened while the veggies slept. I'm thinking nocturnal emissions, but you never know.
Oh, God.
Allie turned up in the far corner of the garden, and her crown disappeared. What's wrong, Allie? Says the carrot. Do you need more shade? Says Squash. More water? Says the beets. And Look at, meanwhile, watching this is the groundhog, the woodchuck.
Oh.
What the hell's going on with him there?
That's where he lives. That like ours lives under the shed. That's the groundhog.
Why is he winking? What the hell's wrong with
I
him?
think he's having a seizure. No, he's looking at them. He doesn't trust them. You know that expression, sleep with one eye open? He's afraid.
Yeah, but something's happening with the tomato.
I don't know. It's a ball, honey. It's just a ball.
The next morning, Allie was gone.
Is Allie the tomato?
They named the tomato Allie because it didn't have a name. Yeah. Has anyone seen Allie, says the squash. She's not with the corn, said the Beats. And the corn haven't even been present in this whole thing. Now they're suddenly there and worried.
I didn't see corn the whole time.
Yeah. Or not with the beans either. Mm-mm. Oh.
Where is the tomato?
Wait a minute. Oh, I'm getting something here. Look at this.
What?
Look at Groundhog.
What?
Oh, where could she be?
Uh-oh.
Look
at
at
his teeth. What happened to his teeth? Why do they have the side of his mouth?
Well, yeah, but notice he's wearing the crown that they gave the tomato. Uh-oh. This is really
It's
sick.
mass murder or something. I don't think this is good.
Everyone agreed Allie must have gone back to her own planet. Squash said she wasn't acting like herself. Beat says she was probably homesick. And Karen's like, you're right. And of course, the Beaver King, the groundhog, the woodchuck, the marmot, the prairie dog says, well, I guess now we'll never know. Look at his little,
Oh, no. David!
But there's more to the book, though.
Oh, no.
I think there may be a surprise coming.
I hope the tomato's okay. What's her name, Allie?
Allie, yeah.
That's a weird name for a tomato.
I mean, they're all so sad. They all missed her. Allie was a great friend, said
They
Squash.
For one day.
I know.
Not even a day.
And it didn't talk. It didn't do anything.
Maybe that's why. It's a good friend.
Best kind of friend. I wish we could have thrown her a going away party, said Broccoli.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that's nice.
Carrot says, I hope she comes back to visit. Meanwhile, Bucky Beaver, Groundhog Totoro is having all sorts of fun.
Oh, he's bouncing. Wow.
Yeah. As most men would, he's playing with his ball.
No, that's Allie the tomato.
We think.
Why do they not know it's a ball?
Why doesn't this groundhog realize that if you keep doing that to it, it's going to squash and get horrible?
Because it's not a tomato. He knows it's a ball. Look at all your things fell on the floor.
Oh, I know. They're well, except that top one. He's still there.
Yeah, everybody else. There's only 3 up there.
Soon, life in the garden went back to normal. People sleeping, whatever. The other tomatoes being like, Allie. What? Uh-oh.
What? Show me.
Oh, this is messed up.
What?
Oh, I have to show the whole thing here. Allie, go home.
Who's saying that? Is that the tomato?
I think it's Allie herself.
She wants to go. Oh, wait.
And look what's happening here. It's like, oh.
She's giving him some kind of laser thing.
Yeah, there's the laser eye.
It went through him. Look, it went out the back of him.
Oh. Ew.
That's not good, honey.
Until something streaked through the sky on a starry night in August. Look, there goes Allie, and knocking over the groundhog.
Whoa! Maybe that's what happened to Fiddle Faddle.
You know, it could be. Fiddle Faddle was our groundhogging, living under our chef. Oh, look. Oh, no!
What?
Oh, this is friggin' messed up. Look at the last image of the book. This is the end of Alien Tomato. Look what he did.
She took him with her.
Whoa. It's a ball. It's a tomato. It's an alien tomato. Yeah. Written by Kristen Schroeder, illustrated by Meta Engel. This is what we're teaching our kids. Not math, not science. The idea that an object... To put fear in kids thinking that any object on their table could actually be a space creature that could kidnap them.
Look what happened. You posted tomatoes.
Did I really?
I guess.
Excellent.
I have to look for space. What do you think space would be?
I think, I haven't heard anything from our potatoes, who usually love tomatoes because that's ketchup in its nascent form.
I think they're very scared.
I would be. I am terrified now. I mean, we have tomatoes downstairs. We don't know. They're on a vine. That vine could actually be their communication system.
I have to look for, what's the thing called? A groundhog.
Groundhog, what else is a woodchuck? Or, there's other names for them. I just forget what they are. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I never played our StoryTime theme.
No.
Well, that was StoryTime. Here's a theme.
Tell me a story. she said. You promised me, you said you would. You gotta give in, so I'll be good. Tell me a story, then I'll go to bed.
Whee! Well, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Dave's Gone By Show live, unless you're not watching it live, on Saturday, June 14th, 2025, with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my wonderful wife.
When was Flag Day? Remember Flag Day? Wasn't that June?
Probably. I look it up. I don't honestly know. That's the thing that kind of, I won't get into politics too much, but the whole big, Trump parade that's happening is supposed to be a celebration of the Army.
It is Flag Day, yeah.
Oh, today is Flag Day?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh. I thought it was, the whole Trump birthday thing, and he coincided that with the military.
No, it's not a federal holiday, though.
No. But I was wondering, if you're going to have that kind of parade, why not do it on Veterans Day or Memorial Day?
I guess Flag Day is the equivalent.
Flag Day, okay, Flag Day. At least there's another reason than, a dictatorial diktat of a celebration of a certain person's birthday. Anyway.
What else do you have next, David?
Well, we have coming up, we have our Rabbi Sol Solomon doing his rabbinical reflection on, yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes. And also, we have our Colorado Limerick of the Dam. But let's...
You want to turn off your
Yeah, I really
lights,
do.
yeah?
I want to get these off my...
Yeah.
That feels nice. There we go. Thank you so much.
Break them, they're little.
Yeah. So... Ooh, wow. Look what I did to my thingy.
What did do?
Oh. So, before we get to that, let us thank again our guest in the Daverhood today and all the guests who have joined us in the Daverhood over the years. People who've been on Dave's Gone By, whether it was back in our early years, in the early aughts, all the way through the teens, and now well into the 20s. If they've been on the show, we like to think of them as family, as friends of the Daverhood. What are they up to now? And so, we're going to tell you, our friends of the Daverhood. Oh yeah, thank you, Wolfgang. I guess I can have this playing in the background. It's kind of nice.
It's hard to...
It's hard to parse. All right, I'll turn it. But anywho, first of all, thank you to Randy Packer. Randy is directing Private Lives in Conroe, Texas at the Players Theater from June 20th through July 6th. So get your tickets. Start going. I guess it starts this coming Friday for Noel Coward's classic comedy. And if you heard Randy talk about directing and his love for the theater, that will obviously come through in the show that they are putting on just a couple of days from now. So go see that. Anyway, congratulations to Quinn Lemley, a singer-actress who was nominated for Vocalist of the Year at the Josie Awards, which is given to independent musicians. So, fingers crossed for her. Good luck to Quinn Lemley. And then you alluded to this earlier in the show. Hate having to do this, but sending out condolences to it's really been about high school and junior high for me today. To my high school buddy and junior high school buddy, Stephen Fish, who lost his partner of nearly 30 years this week, Susan Greenberg. She passed of a heart attack at the age of 63.
Oh my God.
Susan was part of, I didn't know Susan, I met her only through Zoom, but Stephen has been part of my life since junior high when he and I and Scott and Kevin and the Wengigs were part of a band called Stephen Fish and his Fabulous Fish Heads, with Stephen as our beloved figurehead and also coming with us on stage and doing funny things. Then he was still part of our entourage when we morphed into the Moist Sheep, and then just staying in touch with Stephen over the years as he became a tutor and a teacher and lived a very nice life and still is in Long Island, and then finding, as they would say, his beshert, finding the person that he would spend the greater part of his life with. I'm sure I asked him that. I don't recall. They were on a date.
You should play that video.
of him on our show.
Yeah.
'Cause Stephen has been on our program on all the New Year's shows. We've had him on.
He's come to your show a lot. I sat next to him a lot of times during your.
When I did live theater, he came.
Yeah, he was always a supporter. Yeah.
So and Susan had severe kidney issues. She was on dialysis for many years. One assumed that's what would have, but no, she had a heart attack. I'm sure weakened by
They're related.
all those years of
Usually it's stroke or it's cardiovascular.
Yeah. So all we can do is send out condolences to my good friend Stephen Fish, and it's been the year. It's been the year of loss and nightmares for so many people I know. Nothing to do with politics, let alone the political stuff. It's just everybody's been going through. I guess when you hit the age that we hit, this is what happens. Anyway, on to happier things, happier friends of the Daverhood kind of things. Want to remind you or let you know that Thomas G. Waits, the actor and director, is starring in his own solo show. It's called Lucky Man, A Warrior's Journey, that he's doing at the Gene Frankel Theater off Broadway. That is happening through next weekend, June 22nd. Want to let you know that Karen Finley has an exhibit. She's not doing a theater thing. She's gotten into like construction, painting, posting things. And the exhibit is called More Desperate Than Ever, being done at Freight and Volume over on Lispenard Street in Lower Manhattan. Playing now through July 5th, so you have a couple of weeks to see that. On June 14th, Katsura Sunshine, that is tonight, at 8 p.m., Katsura Sunshine is doing his Japanese storytelling show called Rakugo at New World Stages. He does it off-Broadway once a month, and he's been doing it for years now at New World Stages. So get to see, it's a very particular kind of Japanese storytelling that this white person has learned and studied and does it very well, and people come out to see it. You should come out to see it tonight at New World Stages over on West 50th Street in Manhattan. Tomorrow, David Cale is at Pangea doing his solo show, We're Only Alive for a Short Time, that's for sure. On Sunday also, Marissa Mulder is at Don't Tell Mama with her cabaret show, You Can't Make Old Friends, featuring music director Bill Zafiro. That is Don't Tell Mama on West 46th Street, over between 8th and 9th Avenue. On Tuesday, Alice Ripley is part of The Lineup, which is a cabaret thing done by Susie Mosher. That is at the Green Room 42 on 42nd Street in New York. Also on Tuesday night, if you can't leave your house, if you're not in New York, go on Zoom or watch Zoom for Mike Agronoff being part of a storytelling group, Story Space. For more information, go to storyspace.org. That's 7 o'clock on Tuesday night, right from your own living room. Jessica Scher is doing Betty Davis Ain't for Sissies at the Triad on West 72nd Street. That is happening. Also, all these things on June 17th, Tuesday. On Thursday night, John DeResta is headlining at the Pineapple. Again, it's all high school stuff. John DeResta headlining at the Pineapple Hill Saloon in Sherman Oaks, California. Stand-up comedian John DeResta. On Friday, Brett Singer, speaking of stand-up comedy, is part of City of Noise, except he's not doing comedy. He's playing a musical instrument at the Bitter End. Speaking of downtown, that is Friday night. Friday and Saturday, Melissa Erica will be singing Sondheim at 54 Below. That's June 20th and 21st. Jessica Molaski is on Broadway in Floyd Collins. That's a Lincoln Center production over at the Vivian Beaumont Theater. David Yazbek co-wrote Dead Outlaw, which got wonderful reviews and I think got skunked at the Tonys last weekend. Oh well. That is at the Longacre Theater. Danny Burston is on Broadway in Gypsy over at the Majestic. Aladdin has music by Alan Menken on Broadway. Off-Broadway, he's represented, of course, by the revival of Little Shop of Horrors at the West Side Theater. Michael Garin plays piano at the Roxy Hotel Tuesdays through Saturdays in Tribeca. And you can also Zoom on Facebook, go on Facebook and watch Michael Garin broadcasting his playing the piano tinkling. Like you can turn your own living room or kitchen or bedroom into a cocktail salon with Michael Garing in the background playing and taking requests because he's doing it live from the Roxy. Way cool. Vince Giordano and the Nighthawks play Monday and Tuesday evenings, 5:30 and 8:30 at Birdland. Jim Caruso's Cast Party every Monday night at Birdland. Get your tickets at birdlandjazz.com. Sending a shout out to Evan Seplow, the founder and editor of StageBuddy.com, a cool website about New York nightlife. Sending love also to, of course, David Sheward, theater critic who writes about Broadway and off for TheaterLife.com, CulturalDaily.com, and, of course, TotalTheater.com. Sending more love even to Vicky Quaddy at Late Night Cat.
What's going on with her?
Oh, no, she's performing. She's doing her thing.
Okay.
I mean, not more special love this week. Always love to Vicky Quaddy, who's out at the Greenhouse in Chicago.
Have her on the quiz show. She usually does the quiz.
Well, but we did it was a Tony quiz. It was a Broadway.
Yeah.
If it was Chicago theater,
Oh, yeah.
she'd know. I have her with Mary Shan and someone else out there.
That would have been a good. You should do like a regional quiz, yeah.
That would be actually very
I wonder
cool.
if David would still probably win, you know.
Yeah, I know. And we did like Buchanan, Arkansas.
He'd be like, yeah, that's right.
And Charlie Gross and Leslie Hoban Blake, they co-host Two on the Aisle, a theater review program that you can watch on YouTube, Two on the Aisle. We talked a bunch about our beloved Dr. Demento, who's retiring. Remember, he's still got drdemento.com and still making a new show every couple of weeks. And listen to Tony Orlando. Yes, that Tony Orlando, Saturday nights on WABC 770 AM in New York. Carol Miller on Q104.3 FM weeknights. One more radio guy. David Kenny does Everything Old is New Again Sunday nights on WBAI. And those, my friends, are the friends of the Daverhood. Come on, Mozart. There you go. La 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 la. Oh, yikes! Take some water. All right. It's about 10 minutes to what time? 10 minutes to noon Eastern Time. I have just a couple of more things to do in the Daverhood on this 987th episode of the Dave's Gone By show. One of them is our Colorado Limerick of the Dam. The other of them is the one, the only, the Jewish Rabbi Sol Solomon. Now, Rabbi Sol has been with us since our first episode. Literally, back on October 6th, I think it was, 2002, it wasn't even called a Rabbinical Reflection back then. It was just him giving his ideas about Judaism, and also it was Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's Rabbi Sol. He'll conflate anything for the sake of Judaism. So this time, though, it's not really a Judaism thing per se. It was just such a shocking week musically to lose literally within 2 days of each other Sly Stone of Sly and the Family Stone fame and Brian Wilson of Beach Boys fame, two really major pivotal figures in modern American popular music. Well, Rabbi Sol felt, hey, I've got to weigh in on this. I'm going to do my rabbinical reflection, my mini sermon about these two guys, what they meant to the world, what they meant to music. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm hoping that, no, well, there's Randy again. Thank you, Randy. Just going to pop that down. I'm going to open this up. So, without further ado or a don't, the one, the only, the Jewish, Rabbi Sol Solomon. Shalom, damn it! This is Rabbi Sol Solomon with a rabbinical reflection for mid-June 2025. Hey, what a sad week for music-loving boomers like yours, Julie. On Monday, June 9th, Sylvester Stewart, a.k.a. Sly Stone, passed away at the surprisingly old age of 82. Just 2 days later, Brian Wilson, wunderkind of the Beach Boys, left this world at the very same age. Talk about influential. Not only are rap and hip-hop children of Sly's beats, but any music group with a big sound and a desire to be inclusive and idealistic owes a debt to the family Stone. After all, the band comprised white guys, black guys, an Italian dude, and women, including their keyboardist Rose and beloved trumpet player Cynthia. If she had done nothing else but scream, "All the squares, go home!" and "All together now!" her place in music history would be secure. And the person who gave her that place was Sly Stone, whose songs like Everyday People, Stand, If You Want Me to Stay, and Everybody is a Star reached for the stars and grabbed them. At their peak, Sly and the family Stone were like the 4th of July, a 1960s peace march, and a Diddy party all rolled into one. Meanwhile, the Beach Boys began as a whiter, mellower party. California kids catching a wave, cruising in cool cars, and already feeling nostalgic about their youth and good times slipping away. And as Brian Wilson deepened his themes, he simultaneously morphed into one of the greatest arrangers in pop history. If Phil Spector built a wall of sound, Wilson constructed a Lego sphere of harmony, eccentricity, and fun. When the album Pet Sounds came out, the Beatles heard it and said, "We gotta do better." They did. And when Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band was released, Brian Wilson said, "I've gotta do better." He didn't. And laboring on Smile or Smiley Smile or Smiling the Smiles of Guy Smiley broke Wilson's brain. Still, for a short time, Sly Stone and Brian Wilson had the Mozart thing. God was coming through them, touching everything they did. Now, is it because they were both crazy? Did they each self-destruct because that level of genius has to flame out after burning so bright? Maybe. They also did a mountain of drugs. Brian, already a schizophrenic, used coke and LSD to enhance his creativity. Sly, wanting to take himself higher, used PCP and crack, because back then, that was a rock star. Both of these idiots mashed their cerebrums into oatmeal. Sly turned paranoid, canceled gigs, ran through his fortune, and squandered every opportunity for a comeback owing to his aberrant behavior. Brian was a little luckier. He found a therapist who was both a shyster and a miracle worker. Depressed, bedbound, and obese, Wilson, nonetheless, kept coming back to music, and by the 1990s was again recording, producing, and even touring. They say the last 2 years he was struggling with dementia, but when wasn't he? So, kids, here's a cautionary tale. To quote South Park's Mr. Mackey, drugs are bad, okay? Say all you want about personal freedom, state laws versus federal, edible versus smokable. If you're going to put your mind on a roller coaster, the seatbelt is not guaranteed. Which brings us back again to the consolation prize that both Sly Stone and Brian Wilson lived a lot longer than their lifestyles promised. Both men saw themselves appreciated and sampled by new generations and revered for their contributions to culture. Sly taught us to accept that different folks have different strokes. Brian looked at our burdensome world and, rather than complain, sought the silver lining, saying, "Wouldn't it be nice?" God only knows what music would have been without the two of them. This has been a rabbinical reflection from Rabbi Sol Solomon, Temple Sons of Bitches, in Great Neck, New York. Boom, shaka, laka, boom. a bit of Rabbi Sol Solomon there. To find out more about him, you're going to want to go to shalomdammit.com. Shalom, D-A-M-M-I-T, shalomdammit.com. That is the place where you can read and hear and sometimes see his rabbinical reflections. That is also the place where you can watch his stage show, Shalom Dammit, An Evening with Rabbi Sol Solomon, when it was recorded at the Richmond Shepherd Theater back in, I think, 2012. Plus, that is also the place you can watch his hilarious television program. He did 10 episodes years ago on Long Island cable station. So it was, that is also called Shalom Dammit, but it's Rabbi Sol Solomon's Peace, Love, an acid reflux hour, except of course it was a half hour. Anyway, it's all there at shalomdammit.com. Do please check that out. Well, what a show that we have had as we hit the noon hour Eastern time in the Daverhood here on Dave's Gone By, our 987th episode of the program, live on this June 14th, 2025. We've been calling it Packer of the Lead in honor of our great my old friend and great new friend of the Daverhood, Randy Packer. Make sure you go see his direction of Private Lives, the Noel Coward comedy in Texas, at Conroe, Texas, the Players Theater. Before we leave you, though, before we have to go off for a week or maybe 2 weeks this time, before our next episode, don't forget, or we won't forget, that we have to end. I mean, we've had so much sadness on a certain level on this show. Losing those musical legends, saying, wishing condolences to my old friend Stephen on the loss of his partner, and just the world right now, and everything that's going on, and then being fearful for Israel. We have to take it down even a further notch, because it's time for our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. Because my wife and I lived in Colorado for so many years, for no good reason, I took it into my head to write a poem about as many places in Colorado as I could. And they're limericks, which means they're 5 lines long. The first 2 lines and last line rhyme. The in the middle lines rhyme as well. And the whole idea is to rhyme something with the town or city or community in Colorado that the poem is dedicated to. And since it's a limerick, it's supposed to be raunchy, funny, dirty, and horrible. I usually fit the bill on all of these. You can decide whether I manage it again today. But today's Limerick of the Damned goes to Buckeye, Colorado. Buckeye, Colorado. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, and then do the limerick.
A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 will end with words that rhyme, and likewise verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick.
Rocky Mountain,
So Buckeye, Colorado. I know I never heard of it. It's an unincorporated community, and it's a ranching community, has been for decades, of course, in Larimer County in central northern Colorado. According to Wikipedia, it is bounded by a huge ranch on one side and a canyon on another. In the 1800s, it was a stop on the stagecoach line that's helped develop the ranching there, including by the Buckeye Land Development Company, hence the name. By the 1920s, a railroad line helped bring sheep from Buckeye to Fort Collins. And then they even had the Buckeye School, which was developed in the 1920s and made it through the 1960s. The building is still there. It has been landmarked. Now, during the Depression, a work relief program created manual labor there, planting trees and also mining alabaster. So a rather interesting little community that's still there. Buckeye, Colorado. Well, if still there in a small way. We may demolish it now with our poem, our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, all about Buckeye, Colorado. Ahem. A dainty young maiden from Buckeye was dating a bit of a schmuck guy. Since she didn't know the best way to blow, He trained her until she could suck dry. Please send your comments, complaints, and other items to davesgoneby@aol.com. DAVESGONEBY. davesgoneby@aol.com. You can also post on our Dave's Gone By Facebook page or message me directly right out here on Facebook. Plus, don't forget, I'm not on Bumble, but,
It thinks you're flowers here.
This cute little bee we bought when we went to the sheep and
you
wool
got
fest.
for me.
I'm sorry. Yes, it was a
My
gift.
friend gave it to me.
Look how cute. And so we just read a true story about Prince Philip's friend.
He didn't swallow the bee and die. I think this is to hold. See all these little things. I think it's to hold yarn. Like it's to hold like when you're making yarn. Like he holds
The skeins of wool, different
he holds
threads.
the ends.
Yeah.
That's what I think. So cute though. But anyway.
Yeah, no, but Prince Philip, apparently, like Prince Philip's old friend, he yawned.
It wasn't Philip, it was Harry or one of the kids.
Oh, it was Harry, I'm sorry. It was,
Harry. What's the other brother?
I can't even keep him straight.
Diana's sons, one of the sons' friends.
Yeah, a bee flew into his mouth, stung him, and he turned out to be allergic to bees, and went into anaphylactic shock and died. I don't know.
Think he knew? I told you, like that lady at Target, I would have used a pen on her.
Oh yeah, if somebody had known and had been there with an EpiPen, we would have.
And they would have known what. Well,
things would have been different.
I mean, maybe first responders have EpiPens, but it happened so quick they probably didn't know what was happening.
Yeah. Nobody said, "What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening." You know.
Poor man.
Oh yeah.
He was married to or had relations with the Kapoor family, which is a acting dynasty in India.
Oh, okay.
So he was, he was like, I mean, that's so.
Not only, ironically, his favorite musician, Sting.
But how do you not, like...
You're not going to acknowledge that, right?
No, I don't know if you just suddenly, hey, where'd the drums go?
Oh, I put everything away. I didn't know you were coming back up. Here, you can either use the...
No, I need something that makes sound, honey.
Oh, they're all in the... Yeah, you got a bunch of things right there. There we go.
What happened to the gigantic poo you bought?
Wait, I was just looking at that. It's there. Oh, it's there.
Oh, I see.
It's right there. We can save that one for next time. Yes, I bought a giant fake poo because. So that was our Colorado Limerick. We're done. Unless there's something you want to talk about. Is there anything else in the world?
No. Wow, look, all the sloths are doing good. No.
I mean, we didn't really watch the Tony Awards.
I feel very bad for your friend. That really depresses me.
I know.
I feel very depressed because, he's such a... I don't know him the way you know him, but my experience of the person...
Of Stephen, we're talking about.
Yeah, he's such a kind, nice, a man who would not wish bad upon anyone. Like
True.
A really good human, like such a good human. And they seem... I don't know her either, but as somebody with a chronic disease as well, I feel her pain. But I think, they seem very happy.
Yes.
But I would say...
I mean, nobody knows. 29 years together, I'm sure they had. But
I would say this, the good part is that they had found each other. There are many people who don't find anybody. So the happiness is that they had found each other. But when I read that, I felt it touched me really.
It's terribly sad. I didn't even want to tell you because, but yeah. And
I think we should do something for him. I don't know. Maybe
I guess
we send him a T-shirt for the... He likes that not Rolling Stones.
He does like the Rolling.
He likes Dead.
Yeah.
What's the one he likes a lot?
Stones. But also like anybody, all of them.
Yeah, maybe we send him some kind of the present. I don't know.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
There's also a sports team. I forget which sports team he's whether it's the Mets or the
I don't know the difference, so you have to.
I can just scroll on Facebook and kind of see.
But maybe some kind of something.
But certainly our hearts and our condolences go out to Stephen.
It was a really old school week for you with all your friends.
I know, right?
I can't look on your phone, but somebody said there was a new Broadway show.
Oh?
The first open show of the season.
Yes, it's called Call Me Izzy.
Yes!
Yes, I follow Broadway. These things, I don't know anything about anything else in the world.
I didn't see.
It's Jean Smart, a solo show. Apparently she's really good. I haven't read the reviews.
Call Me Izzy?
Yeah, Call Me Izzy.
What theater?
Wow. Longacre, maybe? I don't know.
Character study. Returns to Broadway official site. Call Me Izzy.
But it is the first new technical Broadway show of the 2025-26 season.
Jamie Wax, directed by Sarna Lapine. Call Me Izzy. I can't figure it out.
Well, but anyway, and it comes on the heels of the news that Smash is closing. Because I think
Studio 54, Baba.
So yeah, it's not a roundabout thing, I don't think, but it's at Studio 54. They're saying Boop is going to be in trouble, but Boop has not announced it.
I love booping.
I love Boop.
Maybe you should get booping as part of it. You could resurrect the show.
See, now I have to explain that booping for me is not about Betty Boop. Oh, how do I? Do you want to tell this?
No.
Because this is thanks. This is embarrassing. Let me embarrass myself. So. One of the fun things that I like to do, that people humor me and do with me, is at a certain time of year, and we are already at that time of year, when it starts to get dusk, the fireflies come out. And you look in the backyard, or the front yard, and you see, in the darkness, these phosphorescent glowing fireflies. And the game that I play is waiting till one of them flashes, anyway, boop! And then another firefly, boop! Boop, 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 boop! And I will do this for 5 or 10 minutes at a time, just enjoying the beauty of fireflies against the trees and the grass and the houses and things, but also pointing at them and going, boop! I see you, boop! I have not, unfortunately, seen the musical Boop. I will try and see it. Also, I can see the musical Smash. 2 Broadway musicals of this past season that maybe got a Tony nomination or 2 or 3. I know Jasmine, the star of Boop, got a Tony nomination and was their best shot at winning a Tony, but I don't think she did. It went to Nicole Scherzinger of Sunset Boulevard. So that hurt Boop a lot. Smash didn't get anything.
Campaign, it would have helped it.
I should have done the booping firefly. I should have.
If you did that, and then each firefly became Betty Boop, they would have been fine. Yeah.
You know what you can do tonight? You can film me for like Instagram. Do like 30 seconds, because it's supposed to be short.
Try.
And I'll explain real quick. Oh, we're seeing fireflies in the backyard. Boop, boop. Are you booping too? Boop.
No, you'd have to have the whole cast of Betty Boop doing it.
Yeah. I could get in touch with the press agents for the show.
I think that might save. Are they closing?
No, but the rumor is that Boop is in trouble.
So
they have not announced.
Why don't you suggest that as a marketing? I think
I'll suggest
and then people all over the country could do booping, and then that would be,
And that would rise up, Maybe it could help Smash too.
I think that would be good.
It could help, let's see, maybe Happy Ending got some awards, which is good. Dead Outlaw might have some trouble. Except you have to turn it into like a gun. Boop, boop, bang, bang, boop, boop.
Oh, like one of the carnival shows, yeah.
And what else? What are the other Broadway things that might have some issues now that the Tonys have come and gone? It was, and I have to admit, I was surprised. They had the best ratings of a Tony show in 6 years. Because I didn't know what if people are even watching or they're bothering or so much is going on. But apparently, maybe it was, and I know you'll hate this, but it was the 10th anniversary reunion of the original cast of Hamilton doing a number or a medley from Hamilton. People were waiting for that. Yeah, people tuned in for that. And it zoomed the ratings, the Nielsen's up to 4.8 million when the Tonys had been down to about 3.5 million over the past couple of years. So it was literally back to numbers they were getting pre-pandemic. Wow. And those were the big stories of the Tonys, that Audra McDonald did Rose's Turn from Gypsy, which I saw in the theater and which blew the roof off the theater. But on TV, for a lot of people, it seemed too much. It was overwrought, overdone, too angry, too starts at 10 and then keeps pushing to go to 11. In the theater, it worked like crazy. But whether out of the context of the show, it was Mossy Moss. I did not, go figure, I did not watch the actual Tonys. I watched the Tony Watch Party, which was very cool. It's just this guy in his tiny little apartment in New York or Brooklyn or wherever he was, in a suit, in a tux, except whenever he went to the bathroom or away from the camera, you could see he was wearing shorts.
I didn't see
just like me. which was kind of great. It was really, really nice to watch. The only thing was he assumed that everybody else was watching on CBS. We were all watching the Tonys with him, waiting for his commentary and then typing our thoughts. When some of us were like, no, wait, I don't have regular cable. I don't have CBS. I'm not going to sign up for a free week of Hulu or Paramount or whatever the hell. So I need you to tell me what's going on, not just to watch a segment for 3 minutes quietly and then turn back to us and talk about it. But other than that, it was kind of fun to do the watch party thing. And yeah, what were your thoughts on watching me watch a watch party of the Tonys?
You seem to me to be getting more I can't speak. More involved back in theater. I would say that a little bit. You got a little bit more of the bug in you.
I was more into it. Well, also it helped that this past year, through no fault of my own, we've been back and forth to New York a lot, and I've taken that opportunity, and then the press agents have been very kind to allow me the opportunity to see a lot more shows than I have been the past few years, a couple of years living in Maryland, or certainly when we were in Colorado. So, instead of seeing 3 or 4 or 5 shows, I saw about 15, which, it was such a crowded Broadway field, that was still only a quarter of the shows that opened the whole season. But I felt like, I know, I'm part of this. I know what's going on. I know these shows. I have some rooting interest for some of them. So, that felt kind of good. And it pulled me, like Al Pacino in Godfather 3, it pulled me back in. Whether I'll stay there, I don't know.
Do people have to kiss your ring and like...
Oh, yeah. Or kiss other parts of me. It depends who you are and how well you're stacked. But there we go. That was Tony Awards. Any other things that happened this week that we want to talk about this? I never make notes to say...
Oh, you want to show...
I never did show that.
And we would... So last week, because your show ran a little bit late, we missed some of the yard sales. And we went to our Methodist church. They had, well, not our church, but a church near us. They had a craft fair, but it was like 4 booths.
It was decimated. There was nobody there. It was awful.
Summer, you would think, maybe like you said, summer has more options.
Yeah. But, so that was kind of a real disappointment because we kind of look forward to that. Yeah. And there was virtually nothing there to do, nothing to buy, nobody. So we go out, and my wife is like, sorry, that was so disappointing. Maybe we can find another yard sale. So we start looking at the signs, and there was a community yard sale.
We finally found it.
Or was that the next? Was that the Sunday one? Maybe
that was Sunday.
Yeah.
Saturday we
had the church one.
Everything was shut. It was till like 1 or 12, and then one said till 2. But we got there, there was nothing. Gone. And then we went to the church thing. There was nothing. But the people are nice always. But there was nothing. And then we went Sunday. It was like a community yard sale, which had about 5 houses. Yeah. I think 5, 4?
5 houses all along this community, around this circle, around where we live. A yard sale, a community kind of, everybody having a little garage sale. There was virtually nothing that we were interested in, no crap I wanted to buy. I don't know. I don't have a record player, CD player anymore, and not really buying a lot of books, so no. But, we go to one yard sale.
Yes, if you call it that.
And the guy wasn't really selling this, but I don't even know how to set this up. But like how on Roseanne, back in the day, they would have a special episode like Halloween.
They were big on the Halloween. Yeah.
So this guy did the Halloween thing for his community. The kids would come. Like we have one of those people on our block, actually, where he does up the whole...
Oh, yeah.
He's got a fog machine. He's got skeletons. He's got...
Yeah, it scares the children. They're all screaming.
But they all run to it because I'm sure they get candy too. But, they go, he's the big guy on the block doing the Halloween. This guy's one of those.
Yeah.
And he brings out...
We don't know. The neighbors seem to think so.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't do this at all. He just has this.
Yeah.
He brings this out into his backyard. As we're looking at...
terrified the neighborhood children. The neighbors said...
Of course!
Terrified of it,
because this is what he has.
And his wife's a hairdresser, so she provides the head, You can make it increase the size then.
Yeah, well, I want it to fit the whole screen here. Okay. Yeah, he looks like Gerard Allison Dreamy if you look at him. He has this in his yard all the time, right? Or I think in his house part of the time, and he can bring it out. As my wife said, his wife's a hairdresser, so she's got mannequin heads that he covers with paint blood and does this. And if you can see, he volunteered, or I volunteered him, to take a picture. That's me when I've been bad. This is when my wife punishes me. Yeah. Maryland is an interesting place. This is how John Waters emerged from Maryland. So this is very cool. I haven't posted this picture yet, but I will on Facebook and as part of the show. So I really thank you. He was very cool to allow me to put my head in and to do that shot.
I really enjoy it, and I was very concerned.
Yeah. And you know what?
Get me out of here! Get me out of here!
I knew it was safe. I knew it was tinfoil.
It was like that Columbo episode. You never know.
When you put your head in the thing,
I couldn't have done it.
You get a little bit. There's that 1% nervousness of like nothing's gonna. Of course, nothing's gonna. And then you're like, all right, I'm gonna put my head in this thing, But we thank him for that, for a classic photo to go into the Daverhood files. Well, it is 20 after 12 in the afternoon, Eastern Time, here in the Daverhood, which means we have finished the 987th episode of this program. Thank you for watching. Thank you to Randy Packer for being our guest in the Daverhood. If you're in Texas, go see his production of Private Lives, the Noel Coward play that is going to be running from the 20th through July 6th. It remains for me to just thank you for watching, tell you about davesgoneby.com, write to me, davesgoneby@aol.com, check my Twitter feed, RadioDave2, check shalomdammit.com for stuff about the rabbi, and basically probably will not be doing the show next Saturday. Won't have the opportunity to do that. But we will be back with a 988th episode of Dave's Gone By. If not next Saturday, the Saturday following it. Until then, have your, screw the parades on both sides. Have your own, march inside your house for the people that you love and the things that you believe in, and gone by.
Days gone by, days gone by, days gone by,
Boom shakalaka boom, and gone by.